I knew that. Typical alcoholic is a great on top. Are you kidding me? Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. What's going on? Good to see you all here. Thanks for joining me again today. This Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. Wow, this month is flying by. Good to have you all here with us. Again, guys, part 2 of yesterday, revisiting the affidavit. And there have been some new documents dropped as of last night. So we're going to hit that too while we are here. Mama Bear will not be joining me today on panel. She should be in the chat. And Miss Jules said she might be jumping in here with us again. So let's get this show on the road, everybody. See you there. Howdy, hey, what's going on, everybody? How we doing today? Good to see you, good to see you, good to see you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever it is. I hope it's good for you because it's good for me. Welcome, everyone. Good to have you back today as we continue on looking into the affidavit and all the amazing mistakes that were made with it. And amazing as it is, considering what we talked about yesterday, there have been some new documentation dropped. Everything we talked about that we said that the prosecution was not sending to the defense, guess what? They did, except what they should have. And we're going to talk about that because, as I said, I had a feeling it was going to happen. Miss Jules of all trades, true crime, she dropped a video on it last night. We're going to connect on that too today, hopefully. Welcome to you all. Let's see. Mr. Larry NC, Cammy Q, Miss Brandy's in the house, Miss M. D. Smalls, Daisy Dead, welcome back. Good to have you. Carrie Pachula, Amanda Meow, Devil Doll, Evo Girl, welcome. Good to see you. Again, Cammy Q, Amanda Meow, Joe. What's up, Red? My brother Mikey's in the house. Good to see you. Veronica Gower, thanks for joining us. Oh, snap, Sharon, good to have you here. Sorry about that. Strike First, little brother, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. Miss Diane Draper's in the house. Welcome. Mrs. M, I think I said that, but welcome. Good to see you. There's that Dago guy again. Good to have you here. Let me see. Ruth Gosnell, what's up, Mom? Thanks for joining us, Mother. It's good to have you here. I think that's it for now, guys. Come on in, guys. There's 48 people floating in so far. Miss Kelly Coker's in the house. Good to see you. Please do me a favor and leave some DNA on the like button on the way in the door, guys. Share this out to your friends, your neighbors, your cat, your dog, the fish, the birds, the milkman, the mailman, whoever you think is going to want to watch and listen. Please share it out so that we can get on out there, folks. Please start hitting that like button, everybody. 52 people in the house. Hammer away, guys. We got over 400 likes yesterday. That definitely puts us in the right algorithm. Let's see if we can pull that off again today, guys. Let's do it. T2014's in the house. Good to see you. What's up, Sarge? Sergeant Friday is in the house. Just the facts, ma'am. Good to see you, sir. Thank you, Evo. I appreciate that. Come on in, guys. Grab a seat. Grab your coffee, tea, whatever it may be. Come on in. Sit down. Have a conversation with me because there's plenty to talk about, folks. Plenty to talk about. Has anyone seen initials of others in the house with BFDM, some page and affidavit, apparently? Not sure, Veronica, but we will be looking into that today, so we shall see. Good golly, Miss Molly's in the house. Thanks for joining us, Molly. Always appreciated. I'm going to need you today, that's for sure. Let's see. We got to float the documents all back and forth. Welcome, everyone. Come on in. Come on in and have a seat, if you will, please. Good to see you, D. Smalls. Come on. Get comfortable, everyone. Give it a few moments to get some people in here. Molly Mall. Molly Cat, Molly Mall, Molly Girls, Molly something. She's the Molly. That's for sure. I get it. It's okay. Everybody's got to have a Molly tantrum every now and then. Oh, yeah. It does happen from time to time, Evo. It definitely does. We'll see what happens today. We will see what happens today. Come on in, everybody. Get comfortable. Share it out. Share it out, Twitter, whatever you guys want to do. Let's bring everybody in here to see what we can come up with today, guys. Devil Dog, good to see you. I was telling no opinion you're covering Oklahoma Heat. When we connect with creators who are covering this story, he's so passionate about this one. As am I, Devil. As am I. That one really irritates me. Let him know I'm down to jump up there with him anytime. I told Brian that before. He has a great show, a great platform, and I really like the way he does things. So I would love to connect with him on that one for sure. Welcome, Tiffany Guzman. Good to see you. I didn't even know you were in here yesterday, Evo. If I didn't say hi or see you, I apologize. There was a lot of people, so I didn't get to speak to everyone, and my apologies for that. Thank you, Miss Diane. I appreciate that so very much. 67 people. Come on in, guys. Get comfortable. Joe says, don't know about you, but it feels like an innocent man is locked up in Moscow, and it's grating me. Well, again, guys, as I said, innocent till proven guilty. That's the way it works. So we shall see what happens. I'm a little perturbed about what they sent over to the defense, by the way. And it kind of is going as I said it would. It's a little surprising, but not surprising at the same time. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, if Brian, an opinionated idiot, I can never say it straight, opinionated idiot, is interested, I would love to get together with him to cover the Oklahoma case and talk about it, because I have a lot of issues going on with that case right now, and the investigators that are covering it, or not covering it, as I should say. So I would love to jump together with Brian on that one for sure. What's up, Nikki? Good to see you, Wandering Orphan. Thanks for joining us. Sure is, isn't it, Sarge? And I called that, guys. I didn't call that. Welcome, Miss Kim Marin, and happy birthday to you, CC, the sweetest lady on the internet. It's great to see you. There's a reason this has not gone to a grand jury. Yes, there is. Oh, yeah. Brian's got a great channel, Molly. You are absolutely right. I have a lot of respect for him, and I like watching his stuff. I think he handles it very professionally, very responsibly, and has since he started. And I really like watching his stuff. Felt like Alice in the hole, huh? I gotcha. Come on in, everybody. Get comfortable. As I said, guys, we're going to jump back in to finish up. Miss Heather's in the house. Good to see you, Heather. Thanks for joining us. Mandy Joe. Good to see you. Yeah, thanks for stopping in. It's great to have you here. Sorry. As long as you agree. Yes, yes, yes. I don't. Anything's possible, Larry, but I don't know, brother. There's not a lot of evidence pointing to him. And now, with the new documents that dropped, the defense was asking for multiple things, okay? And the one thing that they're definitely not giving him is the DNA from the sheath. Why? That's the most important thing right there, in my opinion. If you're gonna put, try someone for murder, and that's the evidence you have to convict this person, why aren't you giving it to the defense? Do you have it? There's my question. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. And they've been holding back for a long time, and then they drop it all on them yesterday or when they got it, but it just came out yesterday. But the point is they're not giving them the most important piece of it. It doesn't make sense to me. Or I should say, it's not that they're not giving it to them. They're motioning to retract it. Why? Saying it's not relevant for the case. This is the piece of information that made you arrest this man. So how is that not relevant to the case? It blows my mind. It's the only thing. That's right. That's exactly it, Sarge, right there. It's the only thing that you can point to suggest he was in that house. So in that sense, how are you going to say it's not relevant to this case? That makes no sense to me at all. This is ridiculous. What's up, Dustin? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Are you going to be live tonight, sir? That's it right there. Without it, you could not have gotten an arrest warrant. Bingo. What's up, Tsunami? Thanks for joining us today. Come on in, get comfortable, guys. Kristen Ludwinski, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I think the evidence they have doesn't require needing the DNA. If that makes sense, then they better have something decent, Daisy. That's the one thing. You know what I mean? Because that is the only DNA that they've had to attach him to this. And it was only a minimal touch DNA that they had as well. So what else is there? You know what I mean? If it's not in discovery, prosecution can't use it. That's correct. That is correct. That's where the problem lies. And it makes me wonder, do they actually have that? Did they have that? Or were they banking on getting something better and stronger, and now they don't have it? You know what I mean? That makes me wonder. It really does. And I've wondered that for a long time, guys. I told you, you guys, well, most of you guys that were here regularly, that I had issues with the type of evidence they had to hold him on this. And it didn't seem like it was very much. I still don't feel that way. I still feel like there's nothing there. So, if he's the guy, then I'll be damned. Put him away. But if he's not, I would hate to see him go away for nothing. You know what I mean? Welcome, Rhode Island housewife. Good to see you. Appreciate your comment, Nunya. Good to see you as well. We don't know that it's touch DNA. It doesn't say that anywhere, and it's being single source. It actually makes me lean toward it not being touched. Well, that's what they were saying, Nunya, was that it was just touch DNA on the button on the sheath. That's what we all went by because that's what we were given. So, maybe it's not. I don't know. Molly. Yep. I got you, Molly. Or maybe they're scotch taped it and do as good as a print as they thought it would. Yep. Who knows? I know one thing I have a huge problem with, guys, is the the way that this PCA is written, it's like I said, my granddaughter who's in first grade could do better. I think it's ridiculous. PCA does not say touch. Did they state that elsewhere? I do not know, Nanya. One moment, folks. Sorry, everyone. Casey's in the house. Good to see you. Yeah, I thought it did, Sarge, too. I thought it stated that it was touch, and that's all it was. Yeah, 20 microscopic particles to test. Correct. That's the thing, is they don't get to decide that, Veronica. They can put a motion in to retract it if they don't want to put it in, because they think in their mind that it's not viable per se. It has to be approved by a judge. That's the difference. They can't just say, okay, I'm not going to give you this because I don't think you need it. It has to go through the court and they have to approve it. So there were 3 different versions of the PCA, one for every state that had law enforcement involved in. That's correct. PA, Idaho, and Washington. And they're all different. How about that? Imagine that, right? Welcome, Donna. Jess, good to see you. From Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia, Canada. Welcome. Good to have you here. And I appreciate you enjoying the channel. That's what it's all about. Maybe they have something stronger than the sheath. Here's my thing. If they do, God bless them, but why have they not brought it up? Why have they not brought it out? You would think, considering the type of case that the defense is building right now, that they would say, here it is, guys. This is it. We know who we have. We know we have our man because we have this. They're not doing that. And that kind of bugs me, you know? Let me see. Joe, I need real DNA, direct DNA, laugh out loud. Not DNA that can be transferred by dogs, cats, people, and things like touch DNA can be. Absolutely. And the new doc's saying the PF don't have body cam. That's another part of it, guys. Oh, we're getting into that. I promised you that. Because, again, what have I been saying? I said this stuff yesterday and last week, folks, that I didn't think they had body cam because it was never produced. Because they said it was not relevant. If you're going to tell me that going into a murder scene, a quadruple homicide scene, without a body cam is not relevant to this case, are you kidding me? What kind of sense does that even make? It doesn't. Welcome, Mr. Antonucci. Thanks for joining us today. What's up, Janky? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. 116 people in the house, guys. I got 37 likes. What's going on? Again, I'm not a detective, but I'm in true crime. Let's figure this out, guys. Come on. 37 likes, 122 people. That doesn't make any sense. This is just as bad as the Idaho case, guys. Come on. Welcome, Lena. Good to see you. We got to get me up into that algorithm again today, folks. L Wing W. Hope the judge isn't paid off. Oh, yeah, well. Amanda Meow. Idaho had body cam. I don't know about PA. Yeah. Well, if Idaho had cams, why have they not produced that yet? That's the thing. They should have had it going throughout the whole thing. They said it wasn't on. I don't know. I don't believe that. Where is Miss Jules today? Thanks, everyone, for being so welcoming. Absolutely. Yeah, by the way, guys, for those of you that are regulars here, that are members here, the Meatball crew, if you would, and if you do see somebody new, come on, open your arms, welcome in like we always do, guys. Please make them feel at home and welcome. Guys, we don't, one thing for all the new people I'm going to ask, everybody in this channel has the right and respect to their own opinion, thought, and theory in here. Nobody ever is attacked for that, and nor will they be. I do not put up with that. That's how I have kept the channel to be the way it is. It's a very comfortable, laid-back channel that everybody has the right to express their opinions. Again, if somebody wants to come out here and tell me that aliens did this, then so be it. Aliens did it to that person. It doesn't mean we have to agree. We can all agree to disagree if we need to. But in the end, we all do get along, and we will continue to make it that way. So I appreciate that from everyone. Thank you so very much. Didn't Payne say he reviewed body cam footage? Hey, what's up? AZ, good to see you. I do believe I heard that. That's a fact. What's up, Bonnie Bailey? Thank you so much for that. I hope you guys did enjoy yesterday's stream. I appreciate that. Today should be just the same, I'm hoping. We're going to get it all out there and talk about these things and make it make sense, folks, because none of it does. Yeah, I was saying that he had seen what was going on with Murphy the dog on Nunez's cam, but I don't know. You know, they said they interviewed over 600 people, not the town of Moscow. They didn't even talk to the guys in a Banfield or the people that Dave knew. What's up with that? I don't know, those of you that watched the interview last night with Dave on Drunk Turkey Show, it was pretty decent. And again, I have to put credibility. Yeah, sorry, guys. I have to give credibility to him because I cannot find rhyme nor reason why this man would lie about any of this, guys. Thank you, Ms. Heather. I do appreciate that. Again, everybody, this channel is 100% crowd-funded by you all to keep me coming to you guys on a daily basis to do what we're doing. So if anybody should feel generous enough to want to support the channel to keep that happening, guys, there are the links right there for PayPal, Cash App, and the Venmo, and I do thank you so very much ahead of time. Dan, 100%. Yep, Casey, it's great to see you again. They had fugitive warrants. Yes. Body cam had no sheath on bed at first possible. It has come to me, folks. I can't say who it was, because I get multiple messages from multiple people that somebody believes that the cam or that the sheath was never even there. Now, I know that sounds conspiracy-like and rabbit hole-like, but I do not know. What's up, Papa Roger? What is it? There is more evidence than rumors in this case sent from your iPad. Absolutely. Everything comes from the iPad. That's right. If you get pulled over after just running a red light when the cop comes up, it's human nature to get nervous. 100% for someone who just did what he did. Here's the thing, folks. I have a big problem with the Nancy Grace segment, okay? She made something out of nothing with that, in my opinion. There was nothing that he did wrong. He didn't act a certain way. He wasn't smart with the officer. She offered to go get the form that talks about the laws and this and that. He didn't beg her to go do it. He didn't force her to go do it. The way Nancy's talking is that he basically threatened her if she doesn't go get it and this and that and everything else. Come on, Nancy. Let's get real, okay? It's ridiculous. This is America, folks. And in America, people are, based on the judicial system, innocent until proven guilty. We have to keep it that way, okay? When they prove this man guilty, my hand goes up and I say, you know what? He was guilty the whole time. It is what it is. Put him away. When they do not prove him guilty, it goes the other direction, folks, and that's how it is. And there's nothing we can do about that, okay? But until then, we cannot run this guy into the ground. We can't continuously run other people into the ground. We can't make up suspects. We can't do this. We can't do that. We just have to go with the flow. The one thing that I do want to figure out, though, is what is going on with this stupid affidavit, the way that it's been written and rewritten again. It's ridiculous, folks. It doesn't make any sense. And this was written by law enforcement officials, which still makes no sense. That's where my problem lies, is where law enforcement has dropped the ball in this entire case from the very beginning to right where we're standing right now. And it's a problem for me. It really is. You got to admit that half watching our fellow TC journalists, come on, the most fearless among us can't give a thumbs up or down. I mean, you know, it is what it is, Joe. It is what it is. Yeah, guys, tonight I had some things happen last night, so I had to reschedule that for tonight. Tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are covering the true story behind the movie Helter Skelter, the Charles Manson story, guys. Tune in should you be interested. If not, no worries. I will see those of you that don't the very next day. There we are here. It's awful because it seems you're guilty until proven innocent. That's the way it does work. And that's what's wrong with our society and our system right now. Buenos dias. That's all good, Miss Amy. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Bama Askin 25. Thanks for joining us as well. Let's see. The only question I have with the interviews with Dave is he acted like he knew Xana in Lana's video, but didn't know the girls in DTS. I think he's legit, but I think he's nervous. I'll be honest with you guys fully, wholeheartedly. I really think he's nervous, okay? And I think that's why he kind of stutters around and does this and that with it. I don't think it's because he's not telling the truth. I just think he's nervous. I really, truly do. Tash is saying there's an obvious pattern of students covering up crimes in that town. They didn't avoid calling 911 for several hours because they didn't know the phone number or how to use it. That's a fact. What we need to figure out and want to know is why. And Heather says I'd be terrified too. I agree. I later learned from a review of Officer Nunez's body camera there was a dog in the room when MP. That's right. That's right. And these things, there's no communication between these officers either, in my opinion. There's none. Okay, and that's a problem. You got 3 officers that responded in the morning initially. I don't think they communicated with the other 2 officers that showed up in the afternoon the correct way. It just doesn't make sense. We were reading through the PCA yesterday, it was saying, as I went room to room with officer such and such, I noticed this and I noticed that, you know, he wasn't even told this by the officer that would first responded. That doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know, everybody. Welcome, guys. Again, for those of you just jumping in, 150 people in the house, guys. Don't forget to leave me some DNA on the like button, folks. If we could, please. We're at 69 likes with 153 people. Let's make this right, folks. Let's get us up into that right algorithm so we can get everybody in here, okay? Lots to talk about, plenty to look at. No worries, Dan. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Antonucci. I appreciate seeing you, and I hope to see you again. I appreciate that, sir. We got somebody named Strutter in here. I love that name. I'm a Kiss fan, so Strutter 614. Dave talks a lot, but really doesn't say much. I think he's afraid to say certain things, and that's why I think he tells certain things in private, which is what the conversations he had with Daniel in private is what vetted him to Daniel, in my opinion. Okay. I appreciate that, Mr. Antonucci. I really do. It's really laughable at this point. What the F is going on here? I don't know. That's what I've been saying for months, guys. You guys, if you remember, welcome, Threads. Good to see you. I said, I have a feeling there's going to be an issue with this whole thing, the DNA and all this other stuff that the defense is asking for. Here we are. We got to get Miss Jules in here so we can hit this up, folks. We're going to tear this apart today, especially the new documents. I really want to talk with her about this and with you guys, because these new documents, this doesn't make any sense, and it shouldn't make any sense. You know that, right? Let's see. The dog is mentioned on the PCA with body cam, but not the knife stock. Interesting. That is quite interesting. Dave has third-party info, and I agree. I agree, Sarge. I think he does. I think there's been things that he's talked about with Lana and with Daniel that he's not put out there that gave them reason to want to believe this, okay? And to want to put this out. There's things that are a little bit more serious. I'll just put, that's what I think. Law enforcement is gaslighting the world. No wonder Steve was so frustrated. I absolutely agree with that one, D. Smalls. Welcome, Brandy Oliver. Good to see you. At what point do we start to consider that BK is possibly either being set up or he is working undercover? Law enforcement doesn't make this many mistakes on a regular basis all in one case. That's a very, very strong statement, Brandy, and I absolutely agree with you on that one. I really do. Think about this, guys, please. We have seen law enforcement make mistakes in some of the cases we've looked at, okay? And we've looked at a lot of cases over the past year. I've not seen as many in any case as I have with this. And these mistakes don't even make sense. They're not really mistakes. It's almost like it's being done on purpose, okay? And the things that are being done wrong don't make sense. You don't even have to have a full-time career in law enforcement. I'm not a police officer. Most of you aren't either. And we know that these things are wrong, so why don't they know that? It just doesn't make sense. Not even a little bit. Thank you for that statement, Brandy. I appreciate that. At this point, the people in these frats have such low accountability and credibility. I wouldn't believe them if they told me the sky is blue and the grass is green. Well, here's the problem, guys. Greek rules don't have to be followed, Greek rules are different than what the regular rules are for life, and they don't follow that. He's even said that, okay? There's the problem. It needs to run hand in hand with the law, and they don't seem to do it. Again, guys, thank you so much, Ms. Heather. This channel is 100% crowdfunded, guys, which means it is run by all of your love and donations to keep me out here, to keep me coming to you on a daily basis. Therefore, that is why I post up the PayPal, the Cash App, and the Venmo links for you all to so generously donate if you should choose to want to. And I thank you so much for that. Welcome, PW. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. L. Wayne W. says, I learned the Greeks are elitists and have low values. Yes, that's what it seems to be teaching all of us at this point, in my opinion. Again, if the sheath was set down beforehand, you'd think it would have more than touch DNA. I absolutely agree with that one too. I really do. Touch DNA. Here's the thing. This is a quadruple homicide, and you only have just a piece of touch DNA on this thing. And the other part of this, guys, is I have not believed that there was only one weapon, as I don't believe there's only one person involved in this. I've come to the conclusion with the golf clubs now that I went back and listened to what they were stating, what Steve said, the type of wounds these are. I'm almost going to venture to say that these golf clubs may have been used. Somebody busted the end off of it and used it to puncture people with. If you think about it, it makes sense now, because these said that these were, Stephen Colvin said that these were large puncture wounds. Okay, well, a knife doesn't puncture things. It cuts and slices. Okay, so that's why I think the golf clubs have been held. That's my opinion. This is 100% purely alleged and speculation, but that's what I think the golf clubs were for. I think somebody smashed the end off of it, and that left a long metal shaft that's very sharp and would work perfect to make huge puncture marks. That's my thought, in my opinion. And maybe, yes, there was a knife involved as well. Maybe there wasn't, guys. Maybe there wasn't at all. We don't know. Again, I'm not a detective. I'm just little old Dago, the true crime guy. That's all I am. But these things are almost, at this point, almost common sense, folks, if you think about it, okay? I don't know. You just got to put a little thought behind it and things come out. Can you please show where it's referred to as touch DNA? We're going to get into that here in a minute, Nanya. I just wanted to make sure there was a few people in here. I was kind of waiting to see if Jules was going to jump in because she said she wanted to jump back through this with me. So we're going to go. I was going to wait on her just a little bit. Welcome, Heather. Good to see you, sis. Thanks for joining us today. I got Mama and the sister in here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Just saying, the mom caller did mention a wrench or hammer like tool. Very possible, Smalls. Very possible. Claw hammer can make puncture wounds as well, but I still think that they're holding back those golf clubs for a reason. Absolutely. We need the coroner's report, the autopsy report, the toxicology report. We need all of it. We're not going to get it, but we need it. All right. Welcome, Miss Tara. I hope to see you. Maybe you can make it back. We're going to be here for a while. Mitchell, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we're going to be doing that tonight, Heather. If the lab here is where they sent the sheath, that lab is 100% funded by donations. You are telling me a sheath involved in a quadruple murder with death penalty as possibility to a startup cold case lab. It's not relevant, right? Not relevant to the case. Blows my mind. I'm sorry. Sorry. I couldn't help it. Things happened. Where do we see? What was that? If the sheath was next to a body, it was covered in blood, tip to base. 100%. 100%. And it had multiple people's blood on it, too. That's just me. Because I personally do not think that... I said this yesterday. I think that Xana and Ethan were the first to be attacked. I think that the other two girls that were chased upstairs, in my opinion, because I still think they were all hanging out together in the kitchen. I don't think they were in their beds, okay? I don't think they were sleeping. I think they were all hanging out together in the kitchen, and these people either walked in or burst in, started a fight, an argument, whatever. One thing led to another. They went after Xana and Ethan. I think the other two girls ran upstairs and didn't make it to their rooms to lock the doors to call 911 in time, and they were attacked there, which is why they found them stacked in the bed together. That's my thought, guys. That's my thought. Very, very alleged and very, very speculative. Yes, but it's my thought on this. If the sheath was even there and it was placed after the fact, I agree. I can agree with that, Rhode Island. I definitely can. Which is one of the reasons why I think it's not so important to them. Once again, folks, I don't like to be a conspiracy theorist, nor do I like to jump down the rabbit hole. But at this point, I'm only going with what they've given me. So, all right, Molly, dear, are you able to send me? I think I got that straightened out. Both. It's all good, Mandy Joe. All good. That's one of the reasons why I think they had to use something like what I said, D Smalls. I mean, Ethan was a good-sized, athletic dude, okay? It's probably going to take somebody bigger than him or stronger than him to overpower him, at least quickly. That's why I can't imagine Brian going through him like that and having the ability to go through 3 other people. And they haven't shown us anything other than they haven't shown us any evidence. The car, that's a joke. The sheath, that's a joke. The everything they've shown us is a joke. There's no solid concrete evidence that proves that Brian Koberger was the one that did this, in my opinion. I know these. I've heard other creators saying, "Well, if he wasn't the suspect, then why is he not free right now?" Well, you guys, you can't unarrest someone. You understand that, okay? When somebody's been arrested, I just did that. I don't know why. Anyway, what I was saying, guys, is you cannot unarrest someone. Okay. It has to go through the process, the legal process. You can't just say, okay, well, I guess I was wrong. I don't think it was you, so you can go home now. No, it doesn't work that way. Welcome, Miss Gina Marie. Good to see you. They really don't, D Smalls. That's the problem. L. Wing says a conspiracy theory is a derogatory term by CIA to cover up their murder of JFK. You can call that. There was blood in the kitchen. Yes, there was. There was blood all over the place. Sounds great, PW. If he's going to go live, 100%, I hope he is. He never answered me. Yeah, well, sadly, that's what it gets called. When you say things that are not in the realm of what they're saying, then you're automatically a conspiracy theorist. I'm not, though. I don't do the whole conspiracy thing. You guys know me that have been watching me for a while now. Everybody knows I don't do that. But because I don't agree with what the narrative that that's getting thrown at us, that makes me that. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's possible. That's a good point. Anything is possible in this, guys. I've been telling you guys the whole time. Everything is on the table. Not one thing comes off the table until they take it off the table. So that's very possible, Daisy. I could not doubt that at all. Guys, excuse me one moment. I will be right back, folks. I have to go refill my drink because my mouth dries out fast because I talk so very much. So give me one moment here, guys, and I will return to you. Uno momento. Up there's Jules. All right. As soon as I come back, Jules, I will bring you up here if you want to, or however you want to do it, and we can get rolling. All right. We are back. Okay. Again, thank you guys for being patient. There is Miss Jules. All right, Jules. There's a link there if you'd like to jump up here. We got something else to talk about today, by the way, too, Jules. After watching your video last night, after what they dropped, we're going to be digging into that as well, my dear. Because I knew this was going to happen. I said this even yesterday, I think. As early as yesterday, I said this, and then they dropped it. Okay. All right. No worries. No worries at all. What do you want to... Okay, just click the link whenever you're ready. I was going to say you can set the link up here and be ready to go whenever you're ready, but take your time. So let me check here. Welcome, Bridget. You know what? You are not the only person that said this to me. Somebody came to me not too long ago, guys, and said that we've talked about the fact that Brian may have been investigating or doing some of his own thing, trying to expose corruption, whatever he was trying to do. Okay. And that he gave Kaylee or whoever he was in contact with this knife to protect herself just in case something happened. And during the commission of what was going on, it was taken from her, but the sheath was left behind. I know that sounds outlandish, guys, but that multiple people said that to me. I've never talked about it because it's not something I truly believe, but I can support it because it does make sense. And it does make more sense than what the things that we've been given to. So that's why I'm saying that. So thank you, Bridget. That does make a lot of sense. All right, guys, let me get some stuff pulled up here so we can get into it. I'm going to wait to talk about the new documentation until Jules is ready because I want her to be involved in that 100% because it's ridiculous. Not even ridiculous. It's redonkulous, folks. It doesn't make any, no, 0 cents to me. But as I said, I am not surprised. Let me see. Nope, that's not the right one. 1 second, folks. Facts, Bridget, facts. I told you guys, maybe I didn't tell you guys that I had, thank you, Heather, again, guys. This channel is fully 100% crowdfunded by you, the people, for you, the people, so that I can come to you guys on a daily basis. So anybody that feels like they want to donate to support the channel to keep me coming every day, out to give you guys the stuff that I do. There are links for the Venmo, PayPal, and the Cash App. And I thank you so much, Heather, and all of you ahead of time. One moment. Just trying to get my documents pulled up for you guys. One moment. Thank you guys for your patience. Had technical issues. That's why I came kind of late today. Still fighting with this stupid email, but we shall see. Okay, I don't see her. Molly, dear, if you're listening, if you could please send the I guess all the versions of. Yes, I did, Kim. Thank you so very much for that, my dear. I appreciate that so very much. For the yes. Thank you, Daisy. Appreciate that. Molly, whatever. Now that we have the email fixed, whatever versions of the PCA, if you would send those back again, please, dear. I do and will appreciate that. Audrey, good to see you again. Where did we all hear the 4 may have been beaten by golf clubs and the coroner should check for blunt force trauma? If the clubs broke, it could match what the coroner said, wounds or gouges. That's what I was just saying, dear, before you jumped in, if you were not in here already. It sounds to me like one of the ends or multiple ends got busted off the end of the clubs, and that's where they were punctured. Steve said they were large puncture marks. Large puncture. So something round and sharp will make a puncture mark, just like a needle would. It punctures things. Doesn't make a stab mark or a slashing mark. Welcome, Pink. Good to see you. Oh no, not late at all. We're just getting rolling. Lugaroo, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. We got all day, guys. No rush, no hurry, no worries about being late. Miss Brandy's in the house. again, good to see you, dear. Thank you. I got my moderators here. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate that. 193 people, guys. If you haven't, please hit the like button for me. That's kind of, Daisy, what I'm saying. You know, a puncture. Again, guys, verbiage is very important. It was said initially that it was with a sharp object. Didn't say a knife initially. Remember that. Verbiage is very important, okay? So they didn't say the word stab wounds. They didn't say slash wounds. They didn't say anything like that. I'm trying to keep up with you guys in the chat, guys. I promise you I am. If I miss anything from anyone, please don't be angry with me. It's very hard. I just any versions of the PCA, Molly. Any of them. There was 2 or 3 that we had. I had one yesterday we were going over that we pulled up, and I just that was the initial one. Okay, that was horrible. I had trouble reading it because it was written so pathetically. Edged weapon. Thank you, CI or CL. Is it either way? Yeah, it was an edged weapon. Corner said big knife. Police were looking for a K-bar. That's where that even first came from. Big knife. Well, guys, I have a big knife that's not a K-bar. I have a machete that's not a K-bar. They can make the same thing, but now that the more I thought about it, with the fact that they held onto those golf clubs, that they took those in as evidence, why would you do that? They weren't playing golf together. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Thank you, Daisy. I got your email. One moment, folks. Let me check something here real quick. Gina, she had some things that she has been saying that, you know, she was trying to put out. The problem with what she's having over there is that she's had a couple people that have gone in there that are just blowing her chat out and just like being crazy. I tried to go and listen to her last night and I couldn't. I just couldn't listen to it. And her chat was ruined, and she's very nervous. Okay. And I understand and respect that. And I think that her chat was making it worse because there was arguing and fighting going on in the chat. So I think that's what her issue was over there. I know she's trying, and I know she's trying to make things, put out what her thoughts are on things. And I kind of felt bad for her last night, but you know, you got to be able to handle this to be able to do it. So that's the problem. Thank you for that comment, by the way, Audrey. I appreciate that. And Daisy, thanks for the email. I appreciate that. I'm definitely gonna be looking into that more. Let me see. As soon as we get this set up, here we go. All right. Good Lord. I'm trying to remember what page we're supposed to be on now. Let's see. All right. Give me a moment here. Here we go. Very possible, Miss Gina. Very possible. Very, very possible. No, Susie Q, it has not. Welcome, by the way. We're not going to get an autopsy, nor are we going to get any kind of toxicology until they go into court. That's going to be the problem. That's what we've all been waiting on, because it tells a story by itself. The autopsy is going to tell a huge story. Okay, it's going to tell us everything that we have not had. It's going to tell us everything that we want to know about what happened with this case. Until we go, that's where the facts are going to pop out. That's where the justifications for things that we've been thinking about. Okay, well, could it be this? Could it be that? Was it this? Was it that? At that point, we're going to know what it really was, and that's what we need to have to be able to do what we want to do in here. Okay. Absolutely, Cece. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. That's a good point, CL. That's a good point. CICL. I hope I'm saying it right. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Let me see. Is this back up? Certificate of delivery. Okay. Thank you, Molly, for I got that. What are you asking about, Smalls? Um, there was a female caller to T-Rev who said Harsh was hired to rough up the two girls only, and he screwed up. The caller lives in Pullman. Interesting. Well, and that's the thing, Diane, is we can hear that stuff, we can listen to that stuff, but we can't really go with that until there's some form of proof to prove that. You know what I mean? We can talk about it. By all means, we can talk about it. We can talk about what we think, how we feel, if we believe it, if we don't believe it. We can't prove any of it until we get some proof, though. That's the thing. That's the part that's not, that sucks about doing this. Thank you, Cece. I appreciate that, dear. She said it wasn't important to determine cause of death because they clearly died from stabbing. They still did tox labs, right? They should have done all of that. Can't. That's true as well, Smalls. Okay. I know I'm missing comments, guys, and my apologies. I will try to go back and get to them if I can. All right, let me see here. I'm praying to God that the motions are denied. They have to be. I mean, that's the only thing that they have to make this a case. If all of that stuff gets thrown out or it gets, the motion goes through for that, the case is dead. There is no case then. So that doesn't make sense. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I agree, Tara. Now people conjecturing they died of OD. I don't believe that. I don't. Not at all. I don't believe that because that would have been talked about a long time ago. I mean, it was thrown out there because they changed it up and this and that and everything else, but it's not, in my opinion. Okay. Right, Mandy Joe. Bubbly, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Last night we did check that out, Bubbly. Yeah. We were watching the police logs last night, guys. Molly went back and was looking, and on I think it was Saturday the 13th. Yeah, May 3rd. There was some crazy things going on in Moscow, folks. There was a lot of sorry, folks. What they're calling fraud calls that came in for people being asked to pay contempt of court fees, and somebody identifying as a police officer that wasn't, and something about jury trial that what this weird calls. None of it made any sense, guys. It was weird, but I appreciate the heads up on that, Bubbly, because when you said that, we went and checked it out. Yeah, something someone was doing to keep the cops busy. It does sound like that. It does. Welcome, Paula. Oh Lord, I'm tired. Sorry, Far. Sorry. It's not. It's rude to yawn in front of you guys. The fact Dave thought the OD says. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I know what you're saying. Elwing is that he said he believed that they could have, based on what normally went on there. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we checked into it last night. Me, Mama Bear, and Molly were on the phone for a while Molly was rolling through it. There was a lot going on that night in Moscow, which makes me wonder how often that happens. I know it's college town, guys, but there was like four fraud calls that came out. One, they were all over the place. They found an unconscious male with a skateboard, vandalism, somebody's back window busted out. It was all sorts of crazy stuff. Well, there were no reports written. That's the thing. No reports were taken, Bubbly. Most of it, Molly said there was no report. There was again, as always, a lot of calls from White Avenue and things like that. So, right. All right. Now, this is something that we didn't hit yesterday that I wanted to. Wait a minute. Wait, did you send me the? Oh, you sent me the wrong stuff, Molly. It's okay. We're gonna need this anyway. Oh, I was really hoping to have Jules up here to talk before we talk about this. Yeah. Welcome, Coco. Since you're live yesterday, I've learned that the camera at the 1122 house, which captured a running girl at 2 a.m., has been debunked. So I call. Can I? Sure. If you'd like to do that real quick while we're waiting on Jules to jump up here, sure thing. Please, Eddie, no problem. I always enjoy you calling in. Give me 1 second. Welcome, Eve. Good to see you. All right, go ahead, Eddie. Whenever you're ready, bud. Definitely love to hear. Definitely love to hear about that. Again, guys, we got 242 people in here with. Oh, we just broke 100 likes. Thank you guys so much. We should start hitting that algorithm anytime now. Awesome stuff, guys. Thank you for that. Yeah, the whole chat moved. The coroner said they did not do tox labs. Why? Why would you not do tox labs on them? That makes 0 sense to me. I'm sorry. 0 cents. Ridiculous. All right, Eddie. Anytime you're ready, brother. Give us a yell. That's interesting, Bubbly. Thanks for the info. The coroner said she didn't think it would have any bearing on the manner or cause. That doesn't mean it wasn't done. That's stupid. This is what I'm talking about. This is absolutely the most unprofessional bullshit I've ever seen, especially with this case. Unbelievable. Completely unbelievable. Ridiculous. Right. That's true, too. Good point, Lolly. Are you going to call us, Eddie, or no? Something come up? If not, we'll go into the other thing then. Main thing I wanted to talk about was yesterday's drop of documents, but I still wanted to go back and look at the other parts of the PCA. They're not going through. Oh no. What's going on here? Oh boy. Okay, well, maybe not then. Hold on, folks. I'll be right back. Gotta check something real quick. No. I know what's going on. It's all right. Thank you, Lolly, so very much for that. That is so very appreciated. I know what's going on. It's all right. I guess you're not going to be able to call in, Eddie. My apologies. At least not right now. Hold on. Thank you, Lolly. I do appreciate that so very much.
Okay, guys, this was my credit score 3 months ago.
Nobody wants to hear that. There we go. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I guess we're having a problem with the phones right now, so we can't do that. It's okay. We'll just jump right back into the other thing until Jules jumps up here. My apologies, folks. We live out in BFE, and a lot of times we don't have. I will, Tara. And again, thank you, Heather. We have bad cellular service out here, folks, and it's horrible. Mandy. Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. All right. Hey, Tara. Let me see. It's not letting me read it, Tara. I don't know why either. That's weird. That's very weird. Welcome, Beverly West. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. It does. Thank you. That's true love, MJ. Harlow Oscara, good to see you. Dana, good to have you here. We're just having issues with our phones right this moment. It says no cellular network, and that happens a lot. So, okay. All right, well. Let's see. Okay, well, we're just gonna pull this up and hit this now, and then when Jules does jump in, we'll just talk about it then. No worries. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so very much. All right, folks. Sorry for all the delays and all the crap. Normally it's really not this serious, but phones are not working right and everything. So my apologies. Anyway, all right, here we go. Guys, bear with me because when I pull this up to where you guys can see it like that, I don't see the chat. So I'll have to go back and forth here and there to check the chat for your questions. So just have patience with me. Okay, so this was filed May 12th, okay, at 3:16 in the afternoon. Today, guys, one second. I should have put that down first. My apologies. Today, guys, is May 16th. Okay, remember that. So here we go. Now, this is from the state of Ohio, Idaho. I always do that. State's response to defendant's motion to compel discovery. This is what was wanted by Brian and his attorney for, the defense's case. By way, okay, comes now the state of Ohio by through Latah County prosecuting attorney and submits the following response to the motion to compel discovery filed by the defendant on May 4th of 2023. By way of background, as of the date of this response, the state has provided the following discovery to the defendant: approximately 10,000 pages of reports and other written materials, approximately 10,200 photographs, and approximately 9,200 tips, and approximately 51 terabytes of audio, video, media, and digital materials. The defendant cites to ICR 16F in support of its motion. However, that rule only refers to the procedure for responding to discovery requests I.C.R 16 by 10 and K apply to result requests for discovery orders. With the above in mind, the state respectfully submits the following specific responses to items 1 through 6. Now, think about how this is being worded, okay? With the above in mind, the state respectfully submits the following specific responses. So all this is saying, for some of you guys that may not get this because this is hard to understand, this is what the state is responding to Brian's attorney for her, what she's asking for, okay? Number 1, the state has disclosed all items it is aware of relating to the search and arrest of Brian Kohberger in Pennsylvania. The state is aware of any body cam and dash cam footage beyond what has been disclosed and on information and belief. Understands there is no body cam footage. You guys are hearing this, right? Recordings of interviews and the defendant's transportation from the scene of arrest have also been provided. One more time, I'm going to read this part of this. The state is unaware of any body cam and dash cam footage beyond what has been disclosed and on information and belief understands that there is no body cam footage, recordings of interviews, and the defendant's transportation from the scene of the arrest must have been provided. That's off. Number 2, numerous lab reports regarding forensic evidence collection and analysis of the items recovered from the defendant's parents' home, trash cans, and other receptacles, and defendant's vehicle have been disclosed to the defendant. These reports include items from the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, as well as the Idaho State Police Lab, the defendant's attorneys and investigators. Okay, now hold on. We're going to talk about that for a minute and hold this right where we're at. There she is. Do you want to come up here? That way you can pop in whenever you're free and you can just say what you want to say, hon. That way you don't have to worry about doing that when you can do it. This is what's cracking me up, okay? The fact that there's no body cam, they're saying that there is none for that part of it. But still, there should be body cam footage of all of this, okay? What'd you say, Joe? Dago introduced by Jules, and Dago introduced me to Michelle. In turn, reintroduced me to Van Life, who I met through Doc. And at this point, I tune in YouTube and immediately want to pick up drugs and again. Yeah, no. Yeah. Sorry for that, Joe. Things weren't supposed to go that way. Whenever you're ready, I linked it down here, or it's above. Hold on, I'll drop the link again, Jules. There we go. Okay, can you hear me okay? Anyway, she's up here at the very least.
Hey, no, I'm here. Yeah, I'm gonna be in and out because I do have a bunch of calls to make. But
You're fine. You're fine. I just that way you're here whenever you're ready.
Yeah, no, we can talk about it for a few minutes before I jump on my next call.
All right. Well, you went through this last night because I watched your video, and I just started with this. I'm reading the part where number one that the state disclosed all items as aware relating to the body cam thing and the dash cam footage and all that. They're saying that there is none.
Yeah, that's not the first time I've seen that either. There's apparently something stating that body cams are not required in Pennsylvania, but you would think that with this situation, exactly, that they would make sure there was cameras on every detail. There was no reason for this situation even happen, in my opinion.
High profile quadruple homicide, and we don't have any body cam footage.
Yeah. I don't understand that. I know Pennsylvania is just like assisting because that's where he was, but there should have been certain things, certain protocols put in place to where they made sure that that was recorded.
Well, Daisy just sent me a whole thing about ISP and Pennsylvania State. I mean, PA wears they all wear body cams now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't say that they didn't have them. So that's bunk as far as I'm concerned. So there's one thing that they didn't have any footage of that. There's no body cam footage whatsoever. That's a joke. Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know if I believe that. Like, I mean, they might be stating that about like the Pennsylvania delegated police officers, but they weren't the only ones there.
Here's the thing. You would think that they would wear them to protect themselves if they're transporting, especially if they're transporting a high profile murder suspect, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Because anything could go on. You know, this guy could say this was done. This guy could say that was done. They could say that he did something. You have to have proof.
Yeah. Yeah. It's technically, for protection on both sides.
Exactly. And I don't believe that they didn't have them. I'm sorry, but I don't.
No, I don't either. Maybe if they want to state that for the Pennsylvania law, cool. If they want to just whatever, I don't believe it, but they weren't the only ones there again.
Right. And again, did or did not the FBI, were they not involved in this as well?
Yeah, and this whole like, oh, they were assisting. Okay, well, with what at this point? What were they assisting with? Their name is just associated with it because they just felt nosy. What did they actually do?
Well, none of their names are involved in any of this.
Yeah, none of it. So, and I don't know why it's telling us that there's anything that was sent to an FBI laboratory in Quantico right here, because we've seen zilch when it comes to that paperwork, if that's the case.
Nothing at all. Because, and here's the thing, if they're stating this in here, doesn't there have to be proof that there for whatever there was?
Yeah, there's like stacks of proof. Yeah, but where is it?
Right. There's none. We don't even have an interviewer. We don't even have an investigator. We don't have, whoever works in the lab there. We don't have any of that information.
Yeah, and I do find it really odd that they didn't list any agents' names, because there should have been like leads over certain departments that were assisting, and those leads' names at least should have been implemented into this. So I don't get it.
Yes.
Yeah, at least one.
There's not even one. Whoever the FBI sent as their lead agent to run this or to oversee this should be listed as the overseeing officer, and he's not.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. So
it doesn't. And considering they had to go across the country, that's the whole reason mainly why the FBI gets involved in stuff like that, because it's situations that cross over state lines that have to be taken seriously, and they don't have to have jurisdiction problems. That's why the FBI gets involved. Okay, but other than their name being associated with being able to get access to stuff, what the hell did the FBI actually do here?
Nothing that we can
see. I don't feel like what research, what investigations? Again,
nothing that we can see.
Nothing proven, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're going to claim this, you should have to prove this, and they're not. So I agree. It's unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. Which now, not really though, because I did claim yesterday and last week that I had a feeling that when this was finally released to the defense, that we were going to go through something like this, and here we are.
Well, and I had some people asking too, like, okay, they have this dated, fairly recently, just because they're stating now that they've given all the information over to the defense. Does that mean that they could have literally just done it the day before? Now they're claiming that they did it. Like, how long have they actually had time to look over stuff? It could have been literally within hours of this being filed.
This was dated. This was filed as of 5/12. And I told you guys it's the 16th today. So, okay. when did they actually receive this? First of all,
Yeah.
and how much time have they had to review this? That's a great point. Okay, great point. So I'm just saying, this is way off, folks. And you see right here, 10,000 pages of reports, 10,200 photographs. I'm sorry, 9,200 tips, and 51 terabytes of audio video
That is
media.
so much data. I don't know if everyone comprehends the magnitude of that size of data.
Yeah, because, and here's the thing, guys, as I was saying yesterday, they have to have time to review every single bit of this. Okay.
Multiple times, not just once.
Yes.
With a
yes.
fine-tooth comb. Mm-hmm.
If you guys even know what a terabyte is, if anybody in here has kids or you've played video games and you got a terabyte on your Xbox or on your computer or on a PlayStation, 1 terabyte is a lot. 51 terabytes, folks. Think about that. And you got to go through this multiple times. I'm sure there's a team doing it, but that's going to take weeks, folks. And this is going to bypass the date they have set for the court date. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to be getting more extensions.
Absolutely.
As we go. This is going to take a while.
Yeah, they're going to have to. There's no choice in that. So again, where we are, and this comment here: the state has disclosed all items it is aware of relating to the search and arrest of Brian Koberger in Pennsylvania. I don't believe that statement because they haven't. It's a not true statement in my opinion. So moving on. My cell is 2 years old. It holds 64 gigs. I'm full. It's massive. What's up, Pop Steam? Thanks for joining us today, hon. But what I've been doing all this time, right? That's it. What have they been doing all this time? Don't tell me it's gathering this, because this should have been being gathered as it was gathered. You know what I mean? All right, where did we go? Did I lose myself again? Okay, number 2, we jumped into. Let's see. Numerous lab reports regarding forensic evidence collection and analysis. I know I'm reading this again, but I wanted to start over. Of items recovered from the defendant's parents' home, trash cans, and other receptacles, the defendant's vehicle, have been disclosed to the defendant. These reports include items from the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, as well as the Idaho State Police Lab. The defendant's attorneys and investigators have also been given direct access to view and inspect items seized from his parents' residence, including his vehicle. The state will continue to disclose additional reports it receives that are subject to discovery under ICR 16 and applicable case law, to the extent that the defense believes that certain reports may contain exculpatory information. The state asks that the defense specify what exculpatory information they are referring to and the basis for their belief.
Well, and see, with this being dated on the 12th, we know that all the stuff about the exculpatory evidence when it comes to Bethany started circulating paperwork-wise in March. So there's no way in hell that at this point the prosecution doesn't know what they think the exculpatory evidence is. So that's a gaslighting statement, in my opinion.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I absolutely agree. So as to enable the state to make up any appropriate additional inquiries regarding the defendant's request labeled 2A. In addition to the above response, the state has inquired of the defense for clarification on ISP lab reports by number, since there is a question about some duplicate numbering of the initial lab reports. ISP lab reports are separately numbered by forensic biology, DNA prints, and forensic field services. The state has already been able to advise defense counsel that there is an ISP lab report 25, which has been discovered, and there is an ISP lab report 11, which is pending review. What does that mean? So this report...
Yeah, I'm wondering if that actually does mean that something is still under testing.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
What could possibly be still under testing? It doesn't take that long to get positive blood test to match that to the victims. Literally, if they already have all of the data in a computer, the computer can pop results out in like 30 seconds if it's already coded in there. So there's no reason for there to still be testing being done. I don't know what they could possibly still be testing that could be testing this long?
The golf clubs, maybe that were.
I don't see how it would take that long to swab for blood and see whose blood it is,
It
to
shouldn't.
see if there's fingerprints on it. Like that kind of stuff doesn't take long.
Yep, I agree again, because that's exactly how that reads. Again, guys, verbiage is very important. So here it is. The language in this is reading exactly what it is. Okay. So basically what this is saying is that they're still pending another review on something they're waiting on results for, which is ridiculous.
But I almost wonder if it's the genealogical DNA, since now we have all this new information about it. I'm wondering if that's it, because now with what they're claiming they're not going to be doing with it, is that why? Because they're going to pull some crap and say, oh, well, we had it wrong. I don't trust it. That whole genealogical thing has been a huge rabbit hole in this since the beginning, especially with the neighbor stating that Brian came by and was like, oh, hey, I did this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, that still doesn't make sense to me. And if this is my biggest part with that, if it was included in the PCA as a readable statement, it doesn't matter. It does not matter whatsoever that they're now claiming that they don't want it included. That is already in everyone's minds that there was a positive DNA match. So it doesn't matter what they try to do now. That's the consensus, that they found his DNA and matched it to his dad, and that's the reason they arrested him that day. So I will go back to my original question that I posted in a poll. If that DNA match did not come back to match the dad of the suspect, would they have still arrested him that day? I don't think they would have.
They couldn't at that point, because
I feel like that's what they were waiting on. But then again, what we talked about with the timing, less than 24 hours from 2,500 miles away, and it came back positive. How is that a thing?
You know what I think happened in that sense? I'll be honest with you. I think that they thought they had such a sure thing that they just went ahead and did what they did. And then they ended up with, that's why they had to set it up, because it wasn't enough. And it wasn't, and initially the first lab said that there's not enough here to make any kind of a thing.
I remember the first lab stating they didn't find a damn thing. No DNA, no touch to have a profile to put to anything, nothing at all.
So it makes me think, because of like what you just said, the time constraint on this, that, okay, we got a sure thing here. We know we're going to get this. So go ahead and arrest him. We got it. And then it didn't come back with anything, and they panicked, and they had to send it to a secondary lab. And now it almost makes you wonder, because at the secondary lab, it came back with just that touch DNA. Is it real? Was it really there?
Yeah, that's my question.
I'm sorry
this even real? No, I mean, that was like literally in the center of my thumbnail. Is this even real evidence at this point? Because if I've made it clear how I feel about touch DNA. It's the most unreliable DNA source ever. But in my video, I do state, off of the prosecution's, their stance on this is really the only thing they have that puts him in the house, is this bullshit DNA, even though it really 100%. Doesn't. But it's the only thing that they concretely have of him even being in the area when it comes to biological anything.
That's
so
right.
Why wouldn't they want to put it in there? Why wouldn't they want to be able to tell the jury, we had this DNA on the sheath, and we took the suspect's father's DNA and matched it as a paternal match, and therefore here it is. What is wrong with that if it's true?
If it's true, there it is. And they're scared to death of it, I think. And it's not, how'd they put it? We're not to that part yet, but when we get to it, I'm probably going to go off. But anyway, they're saying basically that it's not relevant. Are you kidding me? How is that?
It's his own DNA. How is it not relevant to him if it's his own body parts? Exactly. I don't understand.
Is it real? That's what I said. And I said this the other day, you guys. Is it actually, did they really have it? Or did somebody take a piece of Scotch tape and go, okay, there we go? I hate to say things like that, guys, but at this point, what choice do we have? They're doing this to themselves.
This could have been an ego thing, because like you said, that maybe they thought they just had it in the bag.
That's it.
And so they decided to just do whatever they did. But in all reality, they know damn well that what they've given the public so far, if you take away this, is nothing. Nothing.
And they have millions of people that have this man convicted in their minds, okay? And now they have to have something. They have to show something. I really don't believe they have anything other. They can say till they're blue in the face, folks, that they're holding it to their chest because of the integrity of the case and all this other stuff. I don't think they have anything else. Because if they did, this would be no big deal.
Right, like if and that's what some people are commenting too, which I understand their point to where they're like, oh well, they probably have his actual DNA now. Well, of course, no, the
Now,
second he got
yeah,
arrested, they would have had his DNA. But if they
absolutely.
wouldn't have gotten that DNA, if this one didn't match, because they wouldn't have arrested him to get that DNA, which is the reason why this is relevant, regardless.
Yep. Yep.
Because
Because now,
this is like what number like a million of things that are huge red flags in this case.
yes,
How
yes,
much more until the possibility of this getting thrown out? And I'm not stating that I want it to get thrown out, because if he is the guilty person, he deserves what comes to him. But
right.
all of this stupidity could either cause someone who is innocent to be put to death because of this stupidity, or someone who is hella guilty that could kill again be let out because of stupid mistakes and people that are careless. Either
Or
way, it's
both.
not a good
Or
look.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It is absolutely horrendous, folks. And that is what, and this is either one of two things, guys. Understand that. One of two things. This is either a voluptuous mess that was put out by Moscow PD, or a cover up. Okay. Or both, because they're covering up their mistakes from it in a sense. One way or another, it's got to be, it's one of those two things, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Because this absolutely does not happen. This does not happen. This is unheard of. And this is a quadruple homicide. This is one of the highest profile cases ever. And these mistakes happen? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, and plus, if they'd have gone 2,500 miles away and stalked this guy basically for like 2 weeks and then came up empty-handed, could you imagine the uproar then?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I said this 2 weeks ago, and I said this is completely, a joke. But at this point, I can almost see it. If Brian Koberger is set free because of whatever this is, Moscow is going to burn to the ground. You understand that? They will destroy that town.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody has this man in the electric chair already, guys. It's done. It's over with. Again, that's why I keep saying we have to go with the innocent until proven guilty, until they can show proof that this man did this. Period.
Yeah, because I mean, News Nation isn't talking about any of the differences that are being seen, and I know damn well they watch true crime. I
They're
know they
all
do.
over this. Yes.
We've had true crime podcasters be interviewed on Fox News, on News Nation. I know that they watch what we talk about.
Yes.
They're not stupid to all of these things that make him not look like the guy, but they're refusing to acknowledge any of it. They only want to talk about what makes him look bad. And they just stack a bunch of crap on top of it. And most of the time, it doesn't even make any sense, have any proof. And just like the video of him getting pulled over, the way that they acted about it was disgusting. And then at the end, how they're like, oh, you can't lie to get out of a ticket. Well, he got out of a ticket. So what are you talking shit for? The whole thing, the bias is gross. It's just beyond disgusting.
Yeah, my wife just popped in and said they need to make somebody, or him, since they have him, the bad guy, and be done with it. I agree with her. They want this over with. They have him. They want it to be done. So they're going to do anything they can do to make that happen. Well, here, it's not going to happen that way, because here's the thing. 10, 15, 20 years ago, this could have happened, and it would have been just fine. Nobody would have said a word, because we didn't exist back then. Okay.
Yep, we had just been getting the Sunday paper articles, and that would be it.
That's all there was to it, folks. But now there's people that's why they don't like what we do. Because we don't take the narratives that we're given and run with them. We look into things. We dig into things. We investigate things. In a sense, we're investigative reporters. That's what we do. And here we are. In this sense, that's why they don't like us. Okay. Because we don't just say, oh, okay, whatever you say. Thanks, George, and walk away. That doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work that way anymore. So at this point, this is where it needs to. And it's not even the fact that they need to prove it to the judge, or they need to prove it to the defense. They need to prove it to the world at this point, folks.
Yeah.
Because this is not just an Idaho state case. This is not just a United States national case. This is all over the world at this point, guys. I have people in here from South Africa, people in here from Australia. We have people all over the place now that are watching this, and they're staring at this, and they've been staring at this from day one. So now they have to show the burden of proof to all of these people and make it happen. Or guess what? It just doesn't exist. And I said that this case could be blown out the window, and one word could make this happen. And here we are. This is pure insanity.
Yeah, it's a mess for sure. One of the
And
biggest ones I've seen in a while.
Scotland, yes, devil. We got Scotland here too. um, but yeah, and I'm sorry I'm getting worked up, guys, but I've been saying this from almost the beginning that they're going to have to do this. They're going to have to do that. They're going to have to show this and they're going to have to show that. And I said, I just don't see this happening. And here we are. And you know, it's just, this is ridiculous. So moving on, at number 3, the state has provided recordings of MPD Detective Payne's interview with Mr. Koberger to the defense. The state will provide any related reports and or notes as they are received and reviewed. We shall see. I'd like to hear that. I'd love to hear those. Okay. I'm curious as to how that went. As with item 1 above, the state has provided the defense with reports, audio, video, and other recordings relating to the defendant's arrest.
See,
And
okay,
that
so is
is,
there audio and video recordings of his damn arrest or is there not? Because that was just a complete
and that's
and
what I was
total
just,
contradiction.
that's exactly what I was getting ready to say. How did you record it if you didn't use a body cam? Was somebody
Yeah, I
standing
highly
there with
doubt they
their
had
phone
somebody
going,
with a tripod.
move that way? No, hold on, don't move. I got
Yeah.
you. Okay. You know what I mean? How were they recording this?
They just contradicted themselves.
Completely, complete contradiction. So anyway, and again, it says as referring to item number 1 back up here. It's saying that they disclosed items relating to the search and arrest of Brian Koberger in Pennsylvania. Back down to the other thing. It says body cam and dash cam footage. Okay. Then it says there is none. Which one is it? How did you give it to him if it doesn't exist? That's what I'm saying. That's what she's saying, guys.
Yep.
This is ridiculous. Anyway.
And then I noticed too that in the request, when it comes to Payne talking to Koberger, and Taylor's team is describing it as an interrogation, but in this state's paperwork, it's labeled as an interview, which are two different things.
Yes, it's an interview. Again, verbiage, guys. Verbiage is very important. Catch up where I am.
Wisdom, the thing about the feds, I know that we've talked about the possibility that there were feds on the ground prior to this happening. We do not know that for a fact. We haven't seen anything about that actually being a situation, but I know that yesterday on Drunk Turkey's interview with the Dave guy, when he was asked about that, he said he never noticed them prior to the event, that they've since left since about spring break, and it's just the security for the school and the cops are patrolling more now, but that no one noticed any feds over at, I think he said it was called Carnegie Hall or something like that, until after the incident. So I haven't seen proof of there being feet on the ground from the feds prior. I know there's a lot of people talking about it, but I mean, I haven't been able to find anything to prove that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, word of mouth is hearsay and hearsay is word of mouth. We know how that goes. And again, that's a big deal right now. So
yeah, and and like we were talking about yesterday, if it was something that was like some sort of like super secret tactical operation, there wouldn't be anything out there about it anyway.
No, he wouldn't have known about it. There's no way he didn't know about it. Nobody would have ever seen them. They're that good. That's why they're the FBI.
And I think they only made themselves known at the college because they were there because of a college incident. So if they were there beforehand, I highly doubt that anybody would have even noticed, honestly, with how covert they're supposed to be.
Well, here's what probably happened. There was probably some type of an investigation going on. They probably had agents that were infiltrating. I hate using that word, but infiltrating the sororities and fraternities in the school itself and looking into whatever they were looking into. And then this happened and they all had to pop out and go, okay, here we are. Let's deal with this. You know what I mean? In turn, that's why they're probably gone now. So I agree with that. And wait, no cams in the interview room. I don't know. That makes sense. I mean, I think you would have to have cameras in the interrogation, correct?
Yes, 150 mazillion %.
That's what I thought. Regardless of what they're trying to say, there has to be.
Even if it's just one lonely one up in the corner, it has to be.
And Brian, having the background he has, the education he has, I guarantee you is not going to allow them to do any type of an interrogation without that camera there. He's smart enough to know that needs to be there.
Yep.
So there's that. So moving on. Number 5, the state has provided a copy of the report memo referred to as request number 161 to the defendant. The state is unaware of any notes, recordings, or photographs.
Yeah, that part actually I don't comprehend. I don't
That
know what
doesn't
the
make
hell
sense.
request number 161 is. And if there's nothing, no notes or recordings or photographs related to whatever this request number 161 is, then what the hell is it in here for and what it's about? I'm confused.
I would like to know what the hell that is.
Yeah, I have
What is
no idea.
request number 161?
Yeah, I read that and it kind of like just passed through my mind because I have no idea what that's talking about at all.
I have to go forward looking for that too.
Yeah.
The state respectfully submits that training records of specific officers are outside the scope of ICR 16 unless and to the extent that the officers will be offering expert testimony, which is discoverable under ICR 16. But what that's saying, everyone, is that they're basically not giving the training records of any of the officers that were involved in this unless they're going to testify.
Which I don't find is right because we already know that we have Giglio Brady violations in this case, and the officers that were first responding have these violations against them. I don't care if they're not going to be giving expert testimony. Just the fact that they have those violations against them should have been reason enough for that to have been given to the defense off the bat. They shouldn't even have been having to ask for it. Now,
100%.
I get maybe them doing that with the lab tech stuff, but when it comes to the police officers who are first responders with these violations, why the hell do you not want to give that over?
That's fact. That's fact. Absolutely. That's fact. Here's the thing, folks. We had 3 initial officers that responded initially. We had 2 more, and God knows how many other people, forensically or whatever else was there. They have the right to have that, okay? That's his right. That's their right as a defense team to have that. And they're denying it unless they testify. Now, I'm going to venture to say that defense is probably going to force, at the very least, at least those 5 officers that were actually on scene, first responding officers, and the guys that showed up in the afternoon to testify that day. So, in turn, they should have those records then, you know?
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't have at least one of the first responders and either Payne or Blaker be on the stand regardless. Like, to me, that's like no brainer. Duh, we're going to hear from them.
Well, Payne, especially Payne's name is all over this PCA that we were looking at. So I would think he has to be there, you know?
And if he's the one who apparently interviewed Brian, which he was lawyered up in Idaho before he even got to Idaho. So
Right.
This would have had to have been something that he agreed to because they can't just force him to talk.
That's true. That is very true.
I would
very,
love
very
to
true.
do that. Oh, geez. I wonder how long it was. I don't think Brian would have talked to him for very long, honestly.
Probably not.
I feel like him and Payne probably have the same sort of ego problems. I don't see that conversation going very well.
Brian probably thinks he knows more than Payne does anyway. To be honest with you, at this point, I'm not saying he doesn't. Based on what we saw in the PCA.
Well, on top of that, I'm sure Brian has seen all these grammatical and spelling errors too. He probably doesn't think very much of them.
Oh God, yeah, being a TA too as well in this type of thing. Can you imagine what he did? Oh my God, he's probably sitting there going, "You got an F, and you got an F, and yeah." Anyway,
I wouldn't be surprised if he graded it.
100%, 100%. The phones are down right now. Housewife. I'm sorry. I might be able to link you guys one at a time to pop up here to ask questions if you need to. It's up to you, however you want to do it. But my phones are not working at this moment. But I would love to hear your questions. Absolutely. So it's up to you. If that's what you want to do, let me know. I can link and you guys can pop up here underneath and ask your questions. Where are we at? The state is willing to reconsider its position upon a profiler by the defendant as to each officer under ICR 16B, showing substantial need in the preparation of the defendant's case for additional material or information not otherwise covered by this rule, and that the defendant is unable without undue hardship to obtain the substantial equivalent by other means.
Okay,
So
well, I mean, it's substantial need to the preparation of the defense if the first responding officers have violations against their credibility.
that's a
Plain and
fact. And
simple.
who is the prosecution to say that if, like, the defense knows who and what they need for this case, and if they think and feel that they need all of that for their case, then that's their right. That's how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. That's why I'm not
Exactly.
understanding all of this conflict. Like, if you think that you really got your dude, then why are you so worried about giving them what you got?
Because the prosecution does not feel they have a case.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think here because, okay, if they're trying to state that now that he's arrested, they probably have his real DNA, which, duh, they take DNA fingerprints, all that drama whenever you get arrested. And that's what they're probably using now to do comparisons. I don't give a shit. This is not what they used to arrest him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is such a joke, you guys. I mean, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Anyway, did I hit that already? The defendant's case for additional material or information not otherwise covered by the rule, and the defendant is unable without undue hardship to obtain. So yeah, I read that. In the event of such a showing, the state asks that the court enters such protective orders as may be necessary and appropriate to protect the confidentiality of the personnel records and any other sensitive information.
I mean, it's kind of too late. We already know who has violations against them. So what could they be protecting? We already know their names and that they're corrupt. What's the difference?
Everybody knows everything, guys. There's no point in that.
Yeah, at all.
So,
that's just more sketchy to me, honestly.
That's just they're digging for excuses. Digging for excuses. Sounds to me actually like they're worried somebody's going to find something out that they don't want them to find out, and that's going to be a huge problem right there, I think. So
yeah, that's possible.
That's what it sounds like. Truthfully, why would you hide this unless you're really actually scared that they're going to find out something that they really don't need to know, or you don't want them to know, I should say. Okay. Appropriate to protect the confidentiality of the position. Yeah, okay, sensitive information. As the state has indicated in its responses to prior discovery requests from the defense, the state has and will continue to provide. I'm gonna be. I just lost it. I need my glasses. Where are they at? Provide discovery in accordance with the ICR 16 and the applicable law. Anyway, sorry guys. Let me grab my glasses, folks, because I can't see part of this. All right, moving on. Let me see here. Or is that it? No. Okay. Certificate of delivery. Yes. Appeal discovery. E-filed and served. Emailed. Faxed. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on. That's page 505. Now, let's move this and pull up the other.
Yeah, once we go through this next one, I'll have to jump off so I can get back to making calls.
No worries whatsoever. Is this the next one? Wait a minute. Hold on, guys. Be patient. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I have the right.
I do, Sophie. I did a timeline comparison, and I don't think that the damn thing ever stopped moving the entire time. I don't think it parked.
Yeah, I agree with that one too. It doesn't make any sense if you follow what the timeline comparison that Jules did. It doesn't make any sense, guys. It sounds like it was on the road the whole time.
Yeah, especially knowing that, people park in that street. You can't be just zooming through and doing things quickly. You got to be careful not to hit a car. Yeah, that took like some time to do all those crazy maneuvers. I don't think the car ever parked.
Right. Okay, here we go. I gotcha. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Boom, boom, boom. Up we are, and there it is. All right. Okay, now.
Upstate, just scroll up. He posted it a few minutes ago. She's asking for the link. I think she wanted to jump up and ask a question.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on a second here, Lynn. Let me bring this down and we'll hit this. When you guys jump up here, I need to see a face just for a second, and then you can go back off because people do things that they shouldn't, okay? And I don't want to see anybody's body parts today.
Has that happened?
Oh my God. You don't even want to know.
Why I get on your live and will not do my own because I don't even know how I would react to somebody being real stupid.
You don't even want to know. All right, the link is in chat. Let's do this. Who was it that was asking for it?
Upstate housewife.
Oh, okay. Come on, housewife. The link should be right underneath where it says ready, set, fupa Febreze. That's a fact, Hash. There's a lot of naive people around. And it's sad, too, especially in things like this. No, I was just giving her a reference as to where the link was at, Fupa. Nothing with you. Don't worry about it. Here we go. All right. Can you hear me?
Hi, bud. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have. Should I turn off my thing on YouTube? Like, should I pause it or something?
Yeah, because now I can't hear you.
Yeah, either pause it or mute it.
Let me. I'm not sure how I would mute it, but I'll just. But yeah, I'll just do it quick.
You're going in and out like you're bouncing back and forth in front of the mic.
Let's see if this makes it any better. Is that better?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is that better now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
What can we do for you?
Thank you for all you guys do. But I have two really random questions that have been bothering me like for weeks. Okay. And I have a really good feeling that you guys would have an opinion on it. But so one, is Bethany's brother a cop?
Cody?
Yeah.
From my understanding, and I don't know how true this is because I can't find the absolute proof on it.
Right.
He was in EMS and very likely moved forward into that to become what I believe is a coroner. Okay.
Okay.
I can't find verifiable proof on that. And you guys know I don't like to quote things that are not
right
real, but that's what I've been called.
Now, could that have been part of the Brady Giglio issue?
I don't think. Do we have anything stating that this person worked on the case? Because if not, then no.
The only thing the only thing we were ever told about it was that he was there on scene and that he left at that point. So, I don't know. Did you just drop off?
Yeah, it looks like she did.
Okay. Yeah, hon, you can't. If you're in StreamYards, I hate to say this, just so you guys know, if you touch anything or try to move any which way, it'll drop you off automatically. So, unless she was done.
But yeah, I haven't seen anything to verify any of that.
Me either. I tried. I really did because I wanted to know if that was at some point. Annie Potts was talking about the fact that he was there, and I'm thinking, okay, is that why they denied EMS access to this? And they tried to say that was, but that still wouldn't matter unless he's registered with the state and he works for that. You can't just do that.
Yeah. And regardless, I mean, there's been plenty of stories that have come out where family members have been called to 911 calls that was for their family and they just didn't know until they got there and they still had to work the scene. So
yeah,
as far as we've been told, EMS, even if he was EMS at the time, nobody was allowed in from EMS. So
that's right. Did you need another question, housewife, or were you done, hon? Yeah, I've had to sadly work. I've been on scenes that I've had to work that were, thank God, not relatives, but very close friends. And it's, anyway. Okay, I guess I don't see anything from her unless she dropped all the way out.
Yeah, her signal didn't sound too strong, so it might have just disconnected.
It almost sounded like, yeah, like she was underwater for a minute. What was that? I do not believe the story of Brian. Oh, there she is.
I'm so sorry.
Listen, real quick. If you're in StreamYards, you cannot touch anything. You can't go back to look at anything. It sucks. You have to stay right where you're at until you're done.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know that.
You're okay. I'm sorry that that StreamYards is like that, but that's how you have to use it.
No, but now that I know, where did you lose me?
We were talking about the Cody Funk thing, and about the fact that he was maybe a coroner and so on and so
Okay,
forth.
that's one part. Then my next question is I need someone to explain to me how Koberger went. Let's just say it's him, okay? For lack of any other knowledge, let's say it's him. How did he go into this house, jack up these 4 kids, all right? And then Dylan supposedly saw him leave out of the slider. Now, he had to leave with the knife in his hand because the sheath was upstairs or wherever it was, correct? So this knife that he supposedly used to bludgeon these poor children, right? How is it possible that there's not some kind of trail of sweat? Because the amount of energy and like that is insane. So, like, where would there be this blood trail of him carrying this knife out of the building or whatever he did with it? It would have to be some kind of DNA, not just on a sheet, right?
Well, and that was one of my biggest things, because in the PCA it only states that Dylan saw the person walking towards the backslider, and then the investigators are just assuming at that point that's whenever the person left. But as we were listening to all of the press conferences and as more information was coming in, even before the cops shut down giving us updates, they were still pretty adamant that they were not sure if it was the backslider, if it was a window, or if it was a door. So for there to just literally be no trail even leading to the exit that the person took, I don't understand how, if you're having
any exit, correct. Yeah. Any exit, whether he went out the chimney like Santa, however he got out of that house and to a vehicle or to a helicopter, whatever the hell the man did, it's virtually impossible to not have some kind of trail of sweat, blood, spit, saliva of some kind after committing something like that and heading towards any exit with any kind of apparatus that wasn't left behind.
Yeah, it's basically like they're trying to make us believe that the blood just stopped after it stopped pooling around the bodies and never went anywhere else. But then they want to tell us that it was a super hella bloody, scary house.
Correct.
Well, you can't have it both ways, though.
Yeah, super horrifying scene. Okay, some cops and some new EMTs will never be the same. Okay, and then you're going to say it the same, right? But there's no DNA. There's no trail. I mean, someone was saying just earlier today, like, run around your house and try to stab like a watermelon. You know what I mean? And
there's going to be stuff.
And the watermelon is not fighting you back. Okay. And imagine how out of breath and, in general, one would be. Now let's imagine 4 movable subjects. Like, it's just wild.
And that's something else that like kind of astounds me whenever people talk about this, like, less than 10-minute time frame and he could have done it. How? You're not just stabbing through a piece of paper.
What is he? Crouching tiger, hidden dragon? I mean, come on.
You're going through skin tissue, you're going through organs, you're going through muscles, you're going through bones on multiple people that are not being still. They're fighting you back. You would have been exhausted to the core after number 1.
Right.
Listen, look. I'm gonna show you something, okay?
Okay.
This is not a K-bar, okay, but it's pretty close. All right.
Okay.
Now, the hilt on this, okay, first of all, I don't think that this was the main weapon, okay? This is why I think that the golf club scenario makes sense to me, that they were used and then dropped right there on the scene, and that they did find those, and it is what it is. I can't see why somebody would take that with them when they left, okay?
Right.
this type of a knife could be shoved in your pocket. If they had one of these, they could have shoved it in the pocket, especially if they were wearing, maybe military type pants, cargo pants, or something like that.
Well, I believe they did state that he did purchase one of those like jumpsuits, like the unitard suit from Marshall's, and it was like some kind of Dickies or Carhartt kind of jammy,
Yeah,
and we've all seen them.
I don't remember there being anything about that kind of outfit. I remember there being like a Dickie pants receipt.
Yeah,
something to that effect. Yeah, but I think they said it was a on the receipt. It was like a one piece. You know how the guys get those like one piece that zip up?
Yeah, but do you know where you saw that from? Because
Yes,
as far as I know, they haven't released any.
It was very, very in the beginning because I was super on point in the beginning of the case.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll have to go back and look at that.
I didn't see that either, but I know you're talking about like the Michael Myers jumpsuit. The jumpsuit. Yeah,
correct. Okay. Yeah, like your work guy's jumpsuit or whatever. Yeah.
There's no way. Okay, here's my issue. I'm showing you guys this knife for a reason. I went back and listened to the way Steve described this, and from what the PSA or PCA, I always do that. The PCA says about the type of wounds there were, and Steve very, very clearly states these were large puncture wounds. Okay, once again, guys, a knife with a blade like this is going to slice or cut, even if you turn it.
Right.
This is not making a puncture mark. Okay.
No, yeah.
And that's why I have it stuck in my mind now that the ends were busted off of one of, or more than one of these golf clubs, because it's a cylindrical piece of metal with a sharp edge that if you do this will make a large puncture mark.
Yeah. You know what really got me is when Mrs. Goncalves sat there in an interview, and I believe it was with Olivia or Brian Eaton, one of them, and she said she was crying, and Olivia was, her daughter, I forget her, I think her name's Olivia, but her daughter was sitting next to her, and she said, it's just horrifying that even if Kaylee would have survived, she never would have been able to recover from what they did to her. You know what I mean? Well, and that to me brings that to a whole another level, the way that poor woman was so broken. You know what I mean? It's like she had to either visualize or see her daughter in a state of almost obliteration.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I thought about that 100 times.
I'm sure Steve did it for the family or what have you. I'm sure that the wife didn't have to do it, but just to know what she does know, right? And I'm sure they were as gentle as they possibly could be with that dear woman, okay? Because she's not long for this earth, the poor thing, with the amount of stress she has, and it breaks my heart. But you could just see the way she said, like, she never would have recovered.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, I hate to be morbid, okay? And I've seen things like this being in the US and all that, okay? But you have to understand, let's say, for instance, that I am right, that they use that, okay? And you have this pole, okay, that you would have, that's longer, it's thicker, and if somebody stood over top of this person, this poor child, and did this, how many times, if it was a stronger person that was just repeatedly doing that, it's gonna, I hate to say this because I feel disgusted saying this, it's like Swiss cheese, guys. You can't recover from that.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Based on the amount of wounds that we said that they had, that's what I envisioned. You know what I mean? And it's sad. It's disgusting. Why the overkill? Why so much?
Yeah. Why so out of control?
Yes.
But I wanted to thank you guys so very much. I enjoy your show tremendously, and I should get off the phone while I'm driving. But thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye. Good questions, though. Thank you for that. Jagged cuts, didn't she? Yeah, I'm not going along with what that coroner says, love. I'm sorry. That first coroner that came out, I don't like the way she presented things. I don't like anything about that. I will go along with the family member before I'll listen to the coroner, because he saw her. He looked at her. Steve, that's his child. He wanted to see what happened to that child, whether he didn't want it or not. He wanted to see what happened. And that's why he's like he is. Okay.
Yeah, I don't trust her after she came out
No.
and oh, they were all asleep. No, you liar. They were not. No.
No, I'm telling you guys, I know that this sounds crazy. I think that they were in the kitchen. I think they were standing in the kitchen, hanging out. At the end of the night, they all had their night. They were all doing what they were doing. They were all eating and laughing and joking, being roommates, being friends, whatever. You know, this is what people do after a night of drinking and partying and whatever. And I think people came in the house, whether like they always did, and maybe they came in a rush, or they came in angry, or whatever it was, and a fight ensued, and this is what happened from it. That's my thought and mine alone. It doesn't mean that's what happened. I'm just telling you that's how I think this happened. And I'll stick with that until it's proven wrong. And when it's proven wrong, I'll say, you know what, I was wrong, guys. This is what happened, and there's nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, because at this point, there's 3.5 hours they could have done things to move people around and put people where they needed to be.
Well, yeah, and
there's no telling really.
When it came to me that they were doing internal repairs on the house because everybody was pretty much moving out of the house and the house needed to be re-rented, that they were painting and spackling and fixing, that they had tarps down all through the house, okay, for that kind of stuff, that they were getting it all ready.
So that just also tells me that there would have been multiple DNA profiles from contractors. Jeez.
See what I'm saying? And if you got tarps, wow, that's an easy way to clean up a mess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Roll them all up and get rid of them.
Something that is interesting about the fact that people would think that, you know, whoever, let's just use Brian, I guess, for an example, had a full-on outfit to cover up whatever. You still have to consider where the hell is it?
Where did it go?
Because if it wasn't found at the scene, if they didn't find a trail of it, you know, of him leaving the house, dripping blood wherever he left the house from, then where could it have possibly been? And I know people are like, oh, well, what if he put it in a bag? Okay, well, I don't see him walking past a door. Obviously, if the door is open and her little vibe, whatever light was on, when that door got open, the glow from that light would have been coming through that open door. So whoever was walking past, doesn't matter if it was dark or not, they would have noticed light coming out of this now open door. I highly doubt at that point, if they're walking towards the backslider, that they're going to stop and change their outfit and everything else, knowing that someone just opened a door. Now there's a light shining through the door. They need to get out of here.
I absolutely
Where's
agree.
the outfit?
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree. 100%. So there's that for sure. Bubbly says they never checked dumpsters. They hauled them off and checked them at dump later on. Yeah, well, I mean, who knows? They didn't do a lot of things. I could sit here and pretend like I could trust that they went and checked everything and looked at everything they were supposed to. But again, I'd be pretending because I don't have any faith in Moscow Police Department at this point. I really don't. I'm sorry. Sweet and Salty says that if the clubs were used, then the first floor had been gone too. Why would I think that they didn't hit the first floor? Again, what if they came right through the front door and as they walked in the door, they grabbed them? Because they were sitting right inside that door, weren't they?
Well, yeah, from what it looked like from the noise complaint, they were in like an empty room on the
right there
floor.
Yeah, you walk in the door. That's perfect, actually. You walk in the door like, hell, there's a weapon right there. Grab one of those.
I mean, yeah, if the window was open the way that it was in the noise complaint video, then if they're walking up from the front door, they could see a bag full of weapons right there.
As you walk in the door, you grab it. There it is.
And, you know, some people have even commented, like, what if the knife sheath doesn't even belong to the murder weapon? You know, because I know y'all were talking about the possibility that maybe it was given to one of the girls, like, for protection. But what if it was also, like, a ruse? What if it's fake altogether and the knife isn't even a K-bar whatsoever? Like,
I have had multiple people, Jules, come to me and say that, what if the knife sheath doesn't even exist?
Yeah, that too. Because we sure don't see the first responders reports telling us, or ISP's reports telling us that it was found.
I mean, is it that surprising to say something like that? Not really. No, it's not. It's not at this point. I could believe that. Like I said, I have everything out on the table at this point, and I'm not taking nothing off the table until we get to the court and they say, okay, this is what really happened. This is what really, you know what I mean? That's when we can do that. Because I don't doubt anything. Thank you so much, all of you guys that are doing this. I didn't get a chance to say that. I do appreciate you guys so very much for this. Lolly, thank you again. What?
I can answer this question. This is a misconception a lot of people have had about that report because there's a huge page that is gone, but people weren't paying attention to the ending of the prior page and the beginning of the one after. If you put them together, they complete a full sentence talking about the coroner. So
Yeah.
that huge page that was blank was not a redaction. That was a stupid printing error because they're obviously unprofessional.
Right. Excuse me for 1 second, guys. If you don't mind, I'll be right back. I agree with that too.
As for the food truck, I've had some people comment that they think they might have seen someone who looks similar to Brian in the food truck footage, but I haven't had any one specific person jump out at me for that, so I'm not quite sure. But if they did get his tracking information for the case, if he would have been over by the food truck, I'm pretty sure they would have had that by now if he was in the area at that time. And they haven't showed us that, so I guess maybe he wouldn't.
Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you, Jules. And honestly, with that question, like, do you know how many people have been seen in the grub truck video that they're saying aren't there?
Yeah, lots of them.
I mean, it's hard to say, even at the clearest. I pulled the very clearest video I could find, and there's people I could see that are in the background that could look like somebody that really aren't,
Mm-hmm.
So just saying. What's that? Housewife says. Okay. Oh, I gotcha. Okay, so does anybody else have any other questions you wanted to jump up here and ask real quick before I move on? I wonder who the girl is that kissed number 9 and he did that weird sleeper thing. People have pointed that out to me, Coco, with the whole that he did this thing, like that. I'll be honest with you. I think because the state that Maddie was in, she seemed pretty tipsy. Like she had a good time that night. Okay. And I think that was referring to like, you need to go home and get some sleep, kid, because you're pretty out of it. She was bouncing around, bumping off things. That's my take on that. I'm not saying that that's what it meant. I'm not saying that that's what it was. But I could see that, as they were looking at her and she kept bouncing through and bumping through Jovi and all that kind of stuff. That was my thought on that. But I could be 100% and 150% wrong. You know what I mean?
Or she was hitting on him and he was like, "No, I'm too tired. We're not doing anything tonight. Go away."
I mean, hey, seriously, this is college, folks. Anything is possible. There was one point in that video where a girl the 2 girls walked past, and I had to go back and watch it 6 times to prove to myself that she did not just hand him a bag of drugs. Because she goes by him and she put her hand on his chest, and I waited to see if he caught something or bent down and grabbed something, but he didn't. But I swear to God, that was a transfer of some kind of a drug to him. So yeah, we're all looking at everything with suspicious eyes. You know what I mean?
For sure.
100%. But the girl that kissed him was tall, dark hair. I know it wasn't her though. I know everybody thinks that is Emma. That's not Emma. And then everybody thought that was Xana, and it definitely wasn't Xana either. So I don't know. I don't know who that was. I don't know what that was all about. But guys never turn down a bumping ugly session. Well, I don't know what things are like nowadays, Tsunami, but when somebody is in that bad a shape that like she was, in my opinion, I would have never went after something like that. That's
somebody with morals would have said no.
That's bad. That's bad. That causes other problems too,
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, let's see what we got here. He got those drugs about a minute later around the corner. I thought that as well, Bubbly. I really did. Because they all took off that direction real quick right after the fact. Maybe that's what that was all about. Who knows? Maybe we'll never know. It probably has nothing to do with the case at this point, but at the same time, it is what it is. I'm sure you probably can. Thank you, Kim, for that. Can I get a birthday shout out
Happy
from
birthday, Kim.
There you go. And I'm so sorry to hear that your dog is at the vet, Kim. I hope
Oh, well, I hope your birthday gets better.
yes, ma'am. I hope you have the best birthday you can.
I've got 2 little doggies too. I'd be sad.
Well, I just went through what I went through with my little dog.
I know. That's so sad too. I didn't even know about any of that till you talked about it yesterday. I guess I must have missed it.
Oh yeah, Noel, I appreciate that. 18 years is a long time to have, especially what you know, the type of dog he was, and he really long
Yeah,
time.
18 years. That's like your kid. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, definitely, it was rough, 100% rough.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Both of you guys have doggy problems.
It's okay. I appreciate that. I absolutely do. What was that comment there? Stevie said, y'all need to chill. I'm becoming a believer. I'm just saying, that's what it's all about, guys. Honest to God, I can promise you, that's why me and Jules get along so well, because we really do kind of have the same thought process. We have disagreed, don't get me wrong, but we're kind of in the same book, on the same page on most of the time, because we look at what they give us and we make a decision based on that, and you have to go with what you have. So it is what it is. So anyway, let's see here. All right, this is the next set of documentation that we received. And it says, comes now the state of Idaho by through the Latah County prosecuting attorney who submits the following response to defendant's third supplemental request for discovery. The state incorporates its January 23rd state's response to request for discovery, February 21st, 2023, state's response to defendant's first supplement request for discovery, and March 29th, 2023, state's response to defendant's anyway, you know what I'm saying, guys. As if fully set forth at this point, the state has and will continue to provide discovery in accordance with ICR 16 and applicable law. So, in regard to the specific request for standard lab discovery, the state has already provided the defense with everything it has received from the FBI lab. The state...
And again, we have no reports about anything from the FBI lab.
Not one, nothing. The state has also provided the defense with approximately 30 reports from the Idaho State Police Lab. We've never seen that. The state has provided the Idaho State Police Lab with a copy of the defense's standard lab discovery, comprised of paragraphs 1 through 10, and will supplement discovery as appropriate. The state specifically objects to the request. Listen very closely to this, you guys. Okay? The state... I just lost it. I'm sorry, guys. The state specifically objects to the request for personal related information as outside the scope of ICR 16, unless and to the extent that lab personnel will be offering expert testimony.
Same thing as with the cops.
And when Ann Taylor requested what she did, or Brian, or both, they wanted anybody that touched anything in this lab that had to do with this case. They wanted their background, their training, their schooling, every bit about it. Their first, middle, and last name, their firstborn child, whatever it was, she wanted it all. And they're denying that because they feel that that's not important. Well, here's the thing, folks. Think about this. This is why this is important to the defense. If there is somebody that works there that maybe is a Brian Koberger hater, you don't think they can taint or screw with whatever's coming out of that lab? Okay. Or whatever it is, somebody that's related to somebody in the families or anything. Okay. That's why they do this kind of stuff. And they're saying they don't think it's relevant. Once again, that's a joke to me. I'm sorry. Moving on. And I'm sure that certain people and anybody that touched any of this stuff in the lab is going to be giving expert testimony. So they're going to have to.
Yeah, there would have to be delegated people for every department. Yes. But at this point, I mean, they're trying to tell us that they had lab work done at labs that we have no proof on, because so far now we have nothing from FBI lab. We have nothing from the Texas lab. The
Right.
only thing we have is Coeur d'Alene, which I don't ever really see mentioned at all in any of the
Not
documents.
once. Not
And
once.
then we have the Idaho State lab. But like I've mentioned on the official website, that's just for electronic detail stuff. That
Yeah.
has nothing to even do with any of the biological testing.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Here comes the good one. So listen close to this too. In regard to the defense's request for genetic genealogy testing and search, the state objects and intends to separately file a motion in. You looked this up last night.
Okay, hold on. Because I apparently pronounced this word wrong, and I
Mine?
prefer the way that I say it, because the way that I mispronounced it sounds like a legal term. Apparently, the way you say this word is lemony, and now all I can see is lemony snicket every time I read that word.
I thought it was Lamine.
Yeah, me too. That's how I pronounced it, but I was schooled on that. It is lemony.
It sounds better when you say Lamine.
I
Sorry.
know.
Lemony. Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I feel.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like
Actually,
a legal
I think
term to
it's
me.
Jiminy Cricket. Lemony.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of. So I was like, oh, that rhymes with Jiminy. Yeah, that's just a funny term, but okay.
That's crazy. Lemony, motion in lemony, and motion for protective order under ICR 16. I'm going to read that back one more time. The state objects and intends to separately file a motion in limine and motion for protective order under ICR 16. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Okay. So
yeah, I don't understand why this isn't a problem.
it should be.
It should be a big problem.
Now, here's the thing that I think is going to happen with this. Okay. I think that when they file this motion, I'm hoping that the judge denies it. Okay. But if he doesn't, then in turn, defense is going to counteract that or counter whatever you call that, and still come with it. You know that that's going to happen because that's obviously an important scenario.
Yeah.
So again, because this genetic genealogy testing, guys, is a new thing, by the way, that hasn't been used a whole lot, but it is something that's being used on a regular basis now, like this scenario. So if it works and they're doing it, why are they denying it? You know what I mean?
Well, and if it really was a thing, where the hell did this Texas lab come from? We are thousands of miles away from where this took place. They have the FBI at their disposal. They have the state lab at their disposal. They got the sample apparently from Philadelphia. I mean, from Pennsylvania. Did they not have their results? Could they not have done this internally? Where did this Texas lab come in?
Here's what I think this might be. Okay, this is just me again, and this is all speculative theory and very alleged. Okay, maybe, just maybe, that this wasn't even used. Okay, that it's something that they thought was a new thing that's very rarely used, and they threw it out there. Going back to what I was saying, when they thought that they had, the cat in the bag 100%, and they thought, well, we don't need to do this, that, and everything else, and here we are. And that's why I said this very well may not have even been used. I could be wrong, and I'm probably wrong, but at this point, I'm looking at all angles of whatever I can, because this is so crazy that these things are being put out there like this, that you have to look at it like that. So
yeah, because I mean, kind of at first, a lot of people were talking about the genealogy possible connection, but we hadn't really seen any proof of it. It wasn't until Ann Taylor's supplemental request, this last one, where she was specifically asking for it, we were like, oh shit, maybe they really did. Well, then if you did and it really matches, what's the problem?
Where's it at? Show it. Why is it a problem? If you have your man, like we keep saying, Brian Koberger did this 100%, he's in jail. Why worry about it? Give it to him. Let him do it.
Because if anything, this is how I would see this. This is how this would make sense. If they would have taken the DNA and done the match in their little less than 24-hour window from 2,500 miles away, which I don't believe as it is, why wouldn't they have then taken the same trash DNA and then compared it to Brian Koberger's DNA directly after arrest to prove the match, and then presented those results? Why are they now wanting to backtrack?
Yep.
That's the huge red flag for me.
Big one. Yes. You're talking about 23andMe. Didn't Stephen Colbus say that he paid for that?
Steve would not have paid for Brian Koberger's genealogy testing.
No.
No, this is talking about the genealogy that they apparently did whenever they tested trash from his parents' house in Pennsylvania, and they compared it to the DNA that magically appeared out of nowhere on the knife sheath. It doesn't have anything to do with the victims.
Right. Yeah, Steve would never have to. No. I mean, I'm sure he would have to prove or to find. Maybe that's what you were talking about. Maybe he said, I'll pay for whatever it is or whatever to get this person caught. He may have said something like that at the point when they hadn't had a suspect in custody, but he didn't do it, and he wouldn't have had to do it. There's no way in hell they would allow that because.
Well, I mean, and even with that, they wouldn't have given him the DNA evidence to send himself. Use the victim's family. Yeah.
Not at all. It doesn't work that way, folks. Not at all. So there's that. Okay. That's a huge no-no in my book as far as this is concerned. So as will be more fully detailed in said motion, the state believes that defendant's requested discovery is outside the scope of ICR 16 in that it does not tend to negate the guilt of the accused. You're kidding me. Okay.
I mean, if it would have came back not a match.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the biggest piece of boo doo doo right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's exactly what it does. I mean, whatever. Anyway, moving on. As to the offense charged or tend to reduce punishment for the offenses as contemplated by ICR 16.
But if it wasn't a match, it would have reduced some punishment.
That's exactly it right there. That's the point. This is ridiculous. And then it is not relevant. Their words.
You got my body parts on a knife sheath. It's definitely relevant.
A quadruple homicide. Mm-hmm. The only piece of it's completely 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600% relevant, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not material to the preparation of the defense.
That's a damn lie.
That's exactly what it is, though. 100% that's what it is. Okay. It is not intended for use by the state as evidence at trial, and none of the documentation being sought belongs to the defendant as contemplated by ICR.
So is that them self-admitting that the DNA isn't Brian's? If they're stating it doesn't belong to him?
That's what I'm taking from that. Is that not?
And I love how it's in freaking quotations. These
whose is it then? Whose DNA is it?
Yeah. So this is something that I'm curious too, because if they do file a motion, well, like they're stating they're going to exclude it, and the judge denies it, could they still just like not present it, or would the judge eventually be like, "Bro, you don't have a choice"?
Well, it's either that or guess what?
The case is done, right?
Yeah,
like that's a technical problem. I don't know. I don't, and I'm almost wondering now, because you know how there was a motion set for them to compel the discovery. Yeah. I wonder if now that this was filed, if that motion is just going to be null and void, or if they're still going to have it to discuss what was actually sent back and forth, and maybe what the defense feels like they're missing.
Well, they may still have it because of what is in this now.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? To say, okay, you can't do that. We need this. We need that. And you have to give that to us. So.
Yeah, I think if the judge signs off and approves this not being included in trial, that is going to be more than a little telling.
Yeah, big time. And listen, everyone, I don't want anybody in here to be shocked, okay? And I hate to say this. If he is guilty, God knows I want him to be the furthest extent of the law, to be prosecuted, punished, all of it. But there's a huge possibility by reading this and seeing what we were seeing that this man is going to walk out of that courtroom a free man. Okay. There's a huge possibility. It's not even just a little one. At this point, from what we're seeing, this is a very large possibility. Okay.
Guilty or innocent. It's a huge possibility.
Yes. Yes.
And Taylor and that guy are not playing. They're going to see everything that we see, if not more than what we've noticed.
100%. This man, and if he is innocent, then I'll be good. You know what I mean? Good. I'm glad. But if he's not, it's going to be bad. It's going to be very bad.
Yeah.
And again, like Joel said earlier, this could either way, this is going to be a bad thing, because if he is not guilty and goes to prison and dies by the death penalty for whatever, and he didn't do this, that's horrible. But at the same time, leading up to that, the persons that did this are still out there, and very well, because they got away with this usually happens, will do it again and again until they are caught. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then at that point, Brian's gone. You can't bring him back. Remember that. And that's what the bad part about all this is. Yeah, then there definitely can be no double. Yeah, the double jeopardy law kicks in. They can't do that.
Yeah.
But that, that's another bad thing. So,
and it's interesting that he used such a big word as exonerated.
Mm-hmm.
And now everything that we're looking at is literally telling us that is such a huge possibility.
It makes me believe that he's known. And
yeah. That's why I don't think that he doesn't know anything. I think he knows exactly what the hell happened here. And I'm sure at this point he's told everybody that needs to know the situation, and we're just not privy to that information. But his team would have to know. But there's no way that he doesn't know. There's just no way he doesn't know. Not to say that Bethany has something that only she can attest to that can prove that he's innocent. There's something known there. Has to be.
I absolutely. Well, going backwards, we know. I went through and I made everybody believe, because I believe that house, the whole, I heard a whimper and I sounded like somebody playing with the dog, and I heard this, and that's what I heard. Bullshit. I know you heard everything. Yeah, absolutely everything. Mm-hmm. I know you both heard everything if you were in that house. Again, folks, there is absolutely zero carpeting in that house with faux wood floors and a 1/4 inch thick drywall throughout. You could drop that on the floor and you're going to hear it throughout that whole house in some sense. Mm-hmm. So screaming and yelling and thumping and slamming and banging on walls and jumping up and down. You don't think they heard every single bit of that and every word that was said? Of course they did.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I don't think it could have been one person either. Because if the girls were screaming their freaking heads off upstairs, then I highly doubt Xana and Ethan would have just been twiddling their thumbs, waiting for the guy to come and show up in their bedroom door. No, there's no way.
That's why I think when Kim said up to 6 people, and everybody went, "Oh my God, she's crazy! No way, no!" I said, "Okay, all right, Kim, I got you. I believe it.
Yeah,
groups. These people. That's what I'm saying, guys. My mind is seeing that these 4 are hanging out in the kitchen. Okay, maybe even more. Maybe the other 2 were there too, and these people walk in the house. And at first, it probably wasn't a big deal, and then there was an argument that ensued that turned into, or maybe they walked in the house to have the argument about a scenario, and like I was stating, as they walked in, they grabbed the golf clubs. A couple, 2, 3 people did. And this again got to where it got to be a bad scenario. And Xana goes in her room. Ethan used the bathroom first. And then they go after Xana as he goes in the bathroom. And the other people chased Kaylee and Maddie up the stairs as they go upstairs trying to call.
I mean, yeah, that's possible too.
Didn't get to their bedroom. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
This is how I could see it happening. I'm not saying it did, folks. Please don't take it as that. I've said that 100 times. But that's my mind's eye view. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I want to address this comment from Misbehaving. I'm just looking at the comments now. She said it's possible for them to hear everything and still not to be guilty. Sure, but you're guilty of manslaughter for not calling the cops for 3.5 hours. And this is something I was talking to with one of my members earlier. They emailed me about, remember how we were talking about how they said that the car sped out at 4:20, but then according to the surviving roommate's phone data, it's actually ending time at 4:25. What the hell is that additional 5 minutes for? If they can state that there is an extra 5 minutes on the surviving roommate's phones that is not being accounted for after he left at 4:20, why? That's proof they were awake. Were they calling each other? Were they texting each other? At 4-something in the morning, at 4:25 in the morning. Okay, well then we go back to that 8 hours of not a damn person called. And if the real calls went out to the sorority at 8:30, what the hell were the girls doing for almost 4 hours before making that call? There's way too many questions. And something that I want me and you to look into here. When I was listening to Dave's interview, I don't know if did you listen to it last night? I know you had family stuff.
Yeah, I was there.
He meant, did you pick up on his immunity rule?
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
Bro, if I tell you right now that got my brain going.
I
There's
know.
2 survivors here, and only one of them in a situation can gain immunity in the situation.
And
There's
and
2.
that's right. But think about that for a minute. If you go, Bethany refuses to come back.
Yep.
Okay, she's scared to death to come back.
Mhm.
And if we go backwards a little bit, the witness list, refresh my mind because everything is so like jambled right now. But you guys, a bunch of you guys were all over me about that. There was somebody, I can't remember if it was Dylan or if it was Bethany that was taken off of the witness list. I think it was Bethany.
Taken off of the witness list?
That's what a bunch of people came at me with that. And I'm probably getting it all messed up with something else at this moment. But I think it had something to do with that too.
I mean, I know that they were taken off the suspect list, but as for witness list, I wasn't aware of any changes to who was in the house at the time.
There was something else that was brought up about that. This is like a month or so ago. I'm looking in chat to see if somebody's going to throw it up, and I'll have to see what's one word, and it'll come right back to me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
also notice we're not getting any of this stuff about Dylan. Like, why aren't they trying to get Dylan to come and talk? Why are they only trying to go after Bethany?
Why did they stop talking about Dylan when Bethany appeared? How about that?
Yeah, that too. Like it went from Dylan's the bad guy to nothing at all to now every focus is on Bethany, but we have no paperwork about Dylan.
100%. Yes. 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 Yes.
Were they not trying to get Dylan to come in for the preliminary? Why the hell were they only trying to get Bethany to come over for the preliminary?
Or did they try to play on either one of them and say, okay, well, let's work this one and see what happens. Well, this one didn't do it, so let's go work the other one and we'll bounce off the other one then.
Like maybe with the prosecution wants to use one and the defense wants to use the other, and they're just going to put them against each other. Who knows at this point? It's just a huge stupid game.
And that's a huge thing because I think that Bethany knew, that's another reason why she's petrified to come back here, that if they put her on the stand, that it would destroy her. They would destroy her.
Yeah.
And if they put Dylan on the stand, they're going to destroy her. Okay. They're going to rip that girl apart, and she will break down and say whatever it is she needs to say. Truth. She'll have to tell the truth, period.
Yeah, I see that more from Bethany than Dylan. Dylan looks like she has some manipulation to her, but I feel like Bethany would fold.
Well, I can agree with that, but Dylan is harder in my opinion. But Ann Taylor, I think they would shred her, and I think they would her too. You know what I mean?
I think that she could get a lot out of both of them.
Yes, I think she would shred them.
And have we heard any updates on the so-called interview that they were supposed to go meet Bethany for? Or, I mean, obviously they're not going to like tell us when it's going to happen, but I haven't seen anything stating it's happened as of yet.
No, I have not either. I even said when I heard, I pray to God that they put out a recording of it or something. I would love to hear that.
Well, and see, was it here that I heard this? Somebody mentioned it. It might have been here. It might have been Annie talking about it yesterday. Something about how they're not going to like record it or videotape it or anything. It'll be like transcribed and her information will be like told to the court.
Right.
No, that's stupid. If you were going to make her come and testify in person, why wouldn't you
see her physical reaction? Right.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to watch her physical reaction. And when the question is asked, I've told a lot of you guys that have been here with me regularly, body language and verbiage. Body language and verbiage are the two major things that you need to pay attention to in cases like this, because it tells the whole story.
Yep.
It literally does. You could watch somebody tell. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the biggest mistake they could make. Now, if they videotape it when they're talking to her and they do it that way, yeah, okay, I could get that. But just coming out and reading it to no, that's horrible.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, we haven't even heard what she actually would have told the cops to begin with. They're suppressing her part of the story. So why would we trust that they're going to give it to us correctly later?
Wait, I absolutely don't.
No, me neither. But I also don't see Ann Taylor's team allowing that either. I think that they're going to try to do whatever they can. Because like I said, if they wanted her there physically, the next best thing is a video. So what's the problem?
They could just do it. They do it now. They do it with people in jail. Why can't they do it now?
I mean, we watched it with Johnny Depp's trial. People were zooming in and doing stuff from all over the world. What's the difference?
Maybe that's what Ann will push for. I mean, they're probably going to do the interview first.
Yeah.
And then I hope to God that they do that too, because I want to see it. And I bet you it makes all the difference in the world.
It probably does.
Pop Steam said, I think it occurred.
Oh,
Okay. I would like to know that for a fact. If anybody can come up with that info, I'd love that one.
yeah, because you'd think they would have done it sooner rather than later, honestly.
Well, I think when it was agreed upon, I would have thought, and I even said that to my wife, that they probably took off immediately for it. You know what I
That's
mean?
what I would hope. That's what I would have hoped they did. Yeah, for
That
sure.
way she can't change her mind, and that, and they can catch her right then and there. So
Yeah.
wasn't it in May? It was at the beginning of May, I believe, the very beginning when that all went down. So yeah, or no, it was
I think it was March is whenever the information was dated from Richard Batanti, but we didn't actually start seeing it, I think, until April.
April, the middle to end of April. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Coco, the Dave guy said that after spring break, the feds are no longer on campus, from what he can tell.
And we talked about that a little bit ago, Coco. We don't know either that it was actually even true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I believe I heard it was why things were moved to the 22nd. Thank you, Pop's team. Appreciate that.
Well, we heard that everything was moved to the 22nd because the media petitioners filed their gag order amendment paperwork, and the Gonsalves family already had theirs set for the 25th. So for some reason, the courts felt it necessary to combine family with media, which I felt was stupid because they should be two completely different things.
Right.
But now the compel discovery motion is like an hour before that the gag order one. I think the gag order one is set for 11 a.m. and they moved the discovery whatever. What do you know what I'm talking about to like 10 o'clock in the morning that morning? So it'll be one after the other.
Well, there's also a rumor, mind you, I'm saying this loud for a reason. It's a rumor flying around that the families are angry with it or upset with each other because of the situation, that some families are blaming it on other families and blah, 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 because they had the graduation and they were certificates and, degrees and whatnot handed out to family members. And instead of doing it all at one time, each family had a separate time that they did it at. And it's like, okay, well, maybe they just don't want to be here, guys. Maybe they just don't want to be there around, other people, since their children didn't make it to that. So
I mean, I heard something about the families arguing, but why would the families be arguing over the certification walk? That's something that the school would have scheduled.
And they did, though. They each had a different time that they did it. There was one, I don't even know what it's called. I can't remember. It's been so damn long. But there's one that they had one. Jesus, guys, I'm sorry. Service. I keep saying I want to say service, but it's not a service. It's a ceremony. There you go.
Yeah.
They had in the morning, and that was where I believe that Kaylee's parents received hers, or no, Maddie's parents received her certificate. Then Kaylee's parents received it in the afternoon ceremony. And then Ethan's family got theirs in a private ceremony. And Xana's family got hers on a weekend ceremony. So it's like, okay.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know any of that.
That's
that is insane.
It doesn't make sense. And they're saying it's because the families are upset with each other and don't want to be around each other. And one family's blaming another family because of what happened to their child and blah, 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 blah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
If that's true, then that means that they know some things.
Right.
Because if there's a specific family of a specific victim that's pissed off at another specific family for that reason, that's telling.
That's telling as far as a target and as far as the whole situation in a sense. Okay.
Now I'm going to do some more research on that because
I didn't get a chance to because I just heard that early this morning. So,
yeah.
But yeah. I want to look into that myself. Pop Steam is saying it's normal. Sorry, I should just do that real quick. It's normal for students who graduate in different majors at different times. Anna's sister graduated at 3:30 last Saturday. Gotcha. And that's what I was saying. I don't. These are rumors. Okay. And if it's true, that's why both of us said we want to look into it. And if it's not, and if it's just what this is, thank you. Or I believe that's Kim, by the way. Kim. So. Yeah, thank you, Kim, by that. I appreciate that. Any information you're giving, so thank you. And yeah, I had heard that Jasmine did graduate last Saturday. So, and she's at they all do different things at different times. Same way we do here too. So
yeah. And I mean, it would make sense if it was separate timing because Ethan and Xana were not graduating. So they were getting like these honorary certifications.
yeah,
And then the two girls, well, we know Kaylee already, like her stuff was actually done in December.
yeah, she was supposed to graduate the Tuesday after this happened. So yeah,
So ridiculous. Can you imagine? Jesus.
it's horrible. This is
Her whole, like her literally whole life was about to be starting the very next Monday. I just, yeah.
That's what makes that's what made me want to do this so bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
and kind of going back to what Miss Behaven also said about how just because they heard or saw anything doesn't make them guilty and, you know, whatever.
Right.
Okay. Well, if little Miss Dillon is sitting there stating that she still heard crying coming from Xana's room and whatnot, I still believe somebody could have been saved if they'd have done the right damn thing whenever they were supposed to.
I went nuts probably a week into this. And I said, I don't know how many of you guys remember this. There were the Banfield cops were right there. There were cops all over campus that night that were doing that. They were running the whole
undercover minor in possession stuff. Yeah.
Yes. They were right there, guys. I showed you guys the videos of how far the Banfield was, how far those cops were from the house. All you had to do was dial 911. It took the cops that when they did it 2 minutes to get there, it would have taken less time. They could have caught these people and very well could have saved some of these kids. Yeah. Very well could have saved these kids, you know, or maybe one or two of them, if not all of them, sadly, but something good could have come out of this, something, and it didn't because
I mean, it possibly could have been Xana that got saved.
Yeah.
And then we would have eyewitness testimony to what the hell actually happened, and we wouldn't be doing all this right now.
None of this. That's absolutely correct. 100%. But it didn't happen because they waited 8 hours to call 911.
Yeah.
Or run out of the house screaming. How about that one?
Yeah.
That would have attracted police, or somebody would have called the police. Why didn't you do that then? At least if you couldn't call, you know, I don't.
And it goes back to that additional 5 minutes they're giving us between him leaving and whatever data they got from the roommates. That 5 minutes could literally mean they were aware right then and there. There was no waking up later and calling the sororities at 8:30 being the first time that they found out. That extra 5 minutes could be super detrimental, which is maybe another reason little girl don't want to come back.
Very possibly. Very possibly. I absolutely agree with that. Again, Pop's team, I want to know if and when the kids saw Brian, was he covered in blood and was it daylight? I do believe it was daylight. What'd you say?
It was between 9 and 9:30 in the morning, around the same time that we have that rumor of the neighbor stating that the front door of King Road was wide open.
Right. And it is daylight. So, you know, and then again, that's a good point. And that's what I was talking about. Did someone run out of the house? And is that why there's blood outside the house? The front door was wide open. What happened? We don't know. And that's another thing. This stupid camera, this light bulb camera that's right next door. And I want to know. I want to see footage from that camera. If that camera was active, that camera should have picked up everything and anything. If somebody ran out that front door, it's going to be on that camera. If somebody went in that front door, it's going to be on that camera. If 6 people went in that front door, it should be on that camera. Okay. Well, of those people walking up into that front door, the silent sea of students that were there the next morning are going to be on that camera. It's going to show everybody there. It should have picked up all that stuff if that camera was active and working. Okay. And if law enforcement has that, why hasn't anybody seen that?
Right. Well, I mean, if they have Ring doorbell footage of the car in the neighborhood, how would they not have the same footage of whoever started showing up? Like there's no way that they don't know the specifics of this. There's no way.
That is absolutely correct. Thank you for saying that. There is a 50 terabyte. Yeah, 50 terabytes. That's right, Daisy. 50 terabytes of audio and video. Is that what makes you wonder? Is that what it is, Jules?
Yeah. I mean, that would make the most sense because, I mean, they're claiming that they interviewed all these people, but then we're hearing that most people in the neighborhood were never talked to. So what other video footage could it possibly be besides traffic cam and Ring footage? What else could it be?
And not to mention the cameras that are up. And from what we understand, I'm not saying this is fact, folks, but allegedly the cameras that were up and around that could be used from campus, okay, were down that night. So it's not going to be that, if that's true.
Yeah, it's not going to be the U of I ones. So it would be the WSU ones. It'd be the traffic cams, and it would be whatever Ring footage was in there, unless there's footage. Look, I have a real issue thinking that all these people showed up over there, which we don't really know how many showed up. I'm saying all these people, but it could have just been a handful, maybe less. I highly doubt that in 3.5 hours, because we're going off that 8:30 call out of the house to the sorority, there wasn't photos taken, there wasn't video. That's why it bothers me so much that the Dave guy is stating that most of these conversations happened through Snapchat, because unless the police get a subpoena for those old deleted records, that stuff disappears. So we don't really know if there was media of the inside.
Right.
Out before the cops
Anytime,
were called.
you are absolutely correct, because anytime you watch, what is it, World Star or any of that other stuff, and you see something going down, there's a fight going down, or a group of people have their phones out like this. Okay. They're filming it. They're taking pictures. They're talking about it. They're doing this with each other. Hey, they're talking to, and here's what I think probably happened. People were going on Zoom or Facebook Messenger, whatever the hell it is. And look what's going on over here. Check this out. Where are those videos at?
Yeah.
Because I know they exist. Don't tell me they don't exist.
Yeah. I don't have any. I am pretty much like 100% positive there has to be something in that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Have they said that all the lights inside were absolutely off? No, and that's a good point. That's why I'm going to tell you something here in a minute. I'm sorry, I need to charge my phone, so I don't have the cha-ching for you, Lolly. So cha-ching, thank you. Have they said that all the lights inside were absolutely off and they only had the glow of the good vibes sign? If those lights were on, then I think those girls had to have seen something on him, weapon, blood, whatever. Here, I've had multiple people come to me and tell me that the kitchen lights were completely blasted on, all the way on, which is why I said I believe they were in the kitchen initially. Okay. So, which would in turn create a shadow, which would in turn allow, well, not a shadow, but a glare per se from the kitchen into the hallway area where supposedly Dylan saw the bushy eyebrows guy walk by, which should clear up. If that light was shining around that corner, you would think that she would see more, right? So I don't know for a fact. I can't verify it. I've tried and I cannot get anybody to give me that info. I've looked into it. I can't see it anywhere to know whether or not the lights were on in the kitchen. Now, whether or not people, they initially were, and whoever went in there shut everything down on purpose so that people couldn't see, because there was large screen door or glass sliding doors and other windows and stuff. Maybe they shut the lights off so people couldn't see things. But again, these things are options to think about. And I do really, really appreciate that, Lolly, more than you know.
Yeah, because I mean, if they're trying to state everyone was in their rooms for the night, you would assume the lights were all off. But yeah, we have no clue.
I don't believe they were. That's just,
no,
again,
definitely not. I don't believe so either.
At this point, it took me a while to get to that point. I don't think they were. I don't. No, I think
we were basically basing that off of the coroner stating that everyone was asleep, and then DM her BS. Everyone was in their rooms at 4:00. But the more that comes out, there's no way. There's no way.
And I had to think about it too. The way these kids were partying and hanging out. First of all, number one word, these are kids. They're college kids. Okay. They don't do that. And this is a weekend. Okay. They're not, they don't sleep. I didn't. Most everybody doesn't at that time. So it's hard to believe that they all went out and did separate things and then came home together. These are friends, mind you, too. I very well can imagine them standing there hanging out, eating the food that they got, supposedly the DoorDash. Maddie and Kaylee are sharing the macaroni and cheese they got from the grub truck, talking. And then in comes this crowd of people, or whatever you want to call it. And this whole thing ensues, and everybody goes their separate directions to get away from the scenario. And then this is what happens. That's really what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. I'm telling you.
I mean, and I can see exactly like why you would say that too. And I know some people still have some skepticism about the Dave guy, but with the details that he's given about, his past interactions with Xana and, being over there and stuff, he made it a point, like these people would stay up with you. So in reality, we don't know if like a group of people went over there to get something and the entire thing went wrong. And it happened then and there while they were all getting into an argument over whatever they were there for. Or maybe somebody got too high off of whatever pills or whatever they got going on, and it just got out of hand, because that's a possibility too.
Somebody went to pick something up or drop something off.
Yeah.
Okay. Which that is where the whole somebody tried to throw the DoorDash driver scenario out there that I talked about before too, that the DoorDash driver may have been who was dropping something off. In turn, that was who the group of people that went in the house was the DoorDash driver, which made more sense because it never made sense with the timeline that the DoorDash driver and the killer didn't run into each other. But whatever, I'm not saying any of this is true, folks. This is basic speculation based on what we've talked about and what we've seen. Mm-hmm. So again, but this is all very possible. Okay. It's not that it's impossible. And nobody's creating any other suspects, folks. It's just what we have.
And when it comes to the DoorDasher too, is it a possibility that, this whole rumor about it being a female and all these things, since we already agree, it doesn't seem like Jack in the Box was the spot they got food from, and all those rumors about the female DDs coming from this Jack in the Box BS. Right. So, I mean, if the DoorDash person was out of their vehicle, walking up and dropping just a bag off, if there was a commotion like a quadruple murder going on inside, that would have been heard by the DoorDasher as well.
100%.
Yeah.
And would have said, well, what the hell's going on?
And would have called 911 probably right then and there. So then it takes me back to Dylan apparently claiming that she heard someone state, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." So I've wondered for a while now if that statement is true, if it's a possibility the door was wide open, the DoorDasher came in, saw what happened, and freaked out saying, "Oh my God, I'm here to help you," but then lost their shit and never called 911 and never did anything, scared to death and ran away. That's a possibility for me here.
Huge possibility. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, because they don't want to be involved in that, okay? And that's the way this generation is nowadays, guys. Nothing against anybody, but people don't want to get involved in things like that. They will run and hide and stay the hell out of it, period, okay? Or it just the trauma of it scared the hell out of them, and they're still hiding from it. I've seen that happen too. These are facts, guys. Thank you, by the way, Willat. I think I say that. Willat Harris. Thank you so very much. No, you're not blocked in here. I can see everything you're saying and doing. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate you. More than you know. And cha-ching, because it's dead. So, but anyway, I have a strong feeling with that whole, I don't think anybody was sleeping. I haven't ever. And I don't think anybody was in their room until after the fact. Then I think everybody tried to go to their rooms. Okay. I really think that. But there was too many people to stop that, in my opinion. That's why I believe the whole 6 people thing is very possible. And Sleuthy said something yesterday that made me think a little bit too, about the possibility. Well, it kind of goes into what I'm saying, that they were in the house, because Chief Fry said specifically, speaking of which, hey Sleuthy, welcome, that there were people in that house, other people there that night. He didn't go into detail, but all he said was there were other people there that night. Okay. Remember that. So they could have been in, and Sleuthy said this too, that they were invited there. You know what I'm saying? I can very well see that they were invited there to buy something from them. And that's when the argument or fight ensued and turned into this, and kaboom. And it was also told to me that there were 3 to 4 other guys that were there when this first happened that took off running. That was told to me by more than one source, which made me go back to the Banfield videos, those guys that went jogging by.
Mm-hmm. Made me that would move the timeline up an hour, though, which is what we've been talking about too.
It does, and that it was Sleuthy that said that about the timeline, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I can go with that. I have no problems with that at all. So, again, folks, there it is. In my opinion, at least. Dave could be just about anyone, even Sleuthy. Hey, Sleuthy, come clean, girl. Yeah. Good. Again, welcome, Sleuthy. It's good to have you here again. Moving back to this now. Where were we? We were almost done with this, I think. Does not tend to negate this. I just have huge problems with this, guys. Material to the preparation of the defense. It's not intended for use by, okay. It is not intended for use by the state as evidence at trial, and none of the documentation being sought belongs to the defendant as complicated. I read that already. Okay. Genetic genealogy research does not constitute reports of examination or tests under ICR 16b5. In any genetic genealogy research is exempt from the disclosure under ICR 16.
Then why wasn't it not exempt from being labeled in a PCA where they specifically requested for it not to be looked at?
That's my question exactly.
Why even put it in there?
There's no call for any of this. It makes no sense.
No, and if I know damn straight, if that test would not have came back as a paternal match, they would not have went into that house and put cuffs on him the way they did. If it would have came back negative, they'd have probably have to carry their happy asses back to Idaho and keep going.
That's right. Absolutely correct. Sleuthy says because they didn't specify in the PCA that genetic genealogy had anything to do with it. And that's how they're doing it. I told you guys it's all about verbiage and language. It causes these things to be this way. It's a good point, Sleuthy. Very good point. And thank you for that. Oh man, does anybody else have any questions they'd like to jump up here and ask, or jump up here and anything you want to, statements you want to put out? Bubbly has video for you. Let me see. Back up. Where? Hold on. Let me see. Sleuthy said, I'm sorry, I'll never go to Idaho. Neither will I. I have a feeling that it's going to bring down their, what do you call that? I can't even think of it. The amount of people that go there for whatever reason now, too. Wait a minute. What is it? No change. Do you have a channel I can send it to? You can send it here if you want to, Bubbly. Or did you already send it? Let me see. 1 second.
Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and jump off so I can get some calls done.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else you had to say or throw out there?
No, I mean, I'm just not understanding their point. And if the judge signs off on this to be excluded, and it's just going to be telling, and we're just going to have to go from there, I guess.
Yeah, well, and that's the sad part is none of us have any control over anything that's going to happen. So we just have to kind of eat it and smile, folks. That's it.
Yeah, but it's good that we're talking about all this stuff because they can do this kind of crazy, horribly, just unfair stuff to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it constantly to cases that no one even knows about. But this is such a big thing that everyone's got their eyes on it. It's sad to me that most people don't know that there is a community like this that actually sits down and picks apart everything and doesn't just go based off of a narrative.
Yeah. Well, and that's what it's all about. And that's why it's great that we do this. And that's why we have to do this kind of stuff. If not, it's never going to be known when these things happen, guys. And
right.
That's what it's all about. So again, Jules, thank you so very much. We love you to death. You know that.
Oh, no problem. I'm going to jump back in the chat. I'll just be on mute while I'm in between calls.
Sounds great. Great.
Bye, you guys.
Thank you, dear.
Bye.
Okay. And Sleuthy again says, now, if you look at the Idaho rules of evidence they cited, they're trying to say that the person whose samples they used is considered a confidential informant. And that's why it doesn't belong to BK. That's interesting, to be honest with you. Okay, where are you at? Don't dive. Here's the link for you, dear. Come on in, or come on down. You're the next contestant. There's the link right there at the bottom, my dear. I'm all over. Chief is saying I'm all over the place with my questions. I apologize. You don't ever have to apologize. We are all over the place with our questions. So, if a SWAT team came into his Pennsylvania home at 3 a.m., would body cam footage not be required? Of course it is. What if whoever was inside had a gun? Well, I think body cam footage, and correct me if I'm wrong, in any kind of scenario like this is 100% supposed to be there. Not saying that that they did use it, but it should be. And that's for the protection of both sides, guys. Not just the protection of the police officers, but for the, whoever they're going after as well. Red says not necessarily in PA. I don't know. I'd have to look that up, to be honest with you. Where are we at here? Dave reminds me of the kind of BS you were when you wait a minute, let me see this again. Dave reminds me of the kind of BS you hear when you go into a ghetto and ask neighbors if they saw or heard anything at a crime scene. And I understand what you're saying, Hash. I still think that Dave is scared. I feel like Dave wants to put out his info for, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, or I try to, okay? Which is probably maybe not a good thing all the time, but that's why I feel like, I want to believe what he's saying, but I feel like he's scared in some sense too. Once again, Sleuthy says that there's no reason they wouldn't make an exception to have cams on because they were going to arrest a mass murderer and apparently possibly, yeah. That's my thought. You know what I mean? That is my thought, especially in this situation. If this was just somebody they were chasing down for parking tickets or for, attempted robbery or something like that, maybe. But at the same time, come on. This is like the highest profile case that's been put out in how long? There's no way that they didn't. Dave definitely seems very genuine. Mikey says, "Where'd you go, brother?" Okay, but I agree, very hesitant. Yeah, and we heard him tell both Lana and Daniel that he would tell them things in private that he didn't want to go live and talk about, and then they could figure it out that way. Because he said he needed directed in which way to take it. And I respect that. I do. Can you hear me? Don't dive.
Yes. Is it showing Cajun Chick? Because I changed it to Don't Dive. I don't know. It's showing on mine as a C.
It's just a big red C.
Okay. Well, mine, it's supposed to be a big red D.
Okay. No
I'm
worries.
sorry.
I get it. And welcome. I love you hearing your voice. I love your accent. I told that before.
Thank you, Dago.
Yes,
Let me ask, is Sleuthy Goosey on here? No, she's in chat.
She's in chat. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me ask y'all, how did they ever say exactly how they connected Koberger to that white Elantra? How did they pinpoint his car out of 22,000 people? Do y'all know for sure?
Well, we don't know nothing for sure, and
Okay,
that.
well, let me tell you this.
Yes,
if you go and look up Howard Bloom,
okay.
It was the some documents Sleuthy Goosey I know she knows about it because I think I've heard her mention it before. He has where it says, I think it's in the eyes of a killer, maybe something like that, and it's the number 4. Okay, it's the fourth document or whatever. It actually tells you, and I mean, now I don't know where he got this from. If he got information, but he was really right on with this. And when I read that from somebody else's channel, I said to myself, You mean to tell me that's how they got this guy? What happened with these two cops? You see, Moscow sent out, what do they call it when it's a press form or whatever? They faxed it to WSU police.
The press
Okay.
release?
Yes, they faxed that to Moscow, LE faxed that to WSU because, we're letting y'all know that we're looking for this year, White Elantra. Well, they got that fax from what it says in Howard Bloom's, and it was Whitman and that other cop. His name, was it, you said it the other day, Dago. It was,
Oh,
Edna.
Gunderson.
No, no, this is not Moscow. I'm talking about WSU.
I'm sorry. I misheard you.
Yeah,
Oh my God. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about? Those two cops, because on Howard Bloom's, on his stuff that he wrote, shows them. It shows two pictures. Okay, one of them is Whitman, and the other one starts with, I think, a E, Edgo, or something like that. I heard Sleuthy Goosey say it.
On the tip of my tongue, I can't say it.
Yeah, those
right.
two got that information, got that fax, and then they immediately put it out to their police department to look for that White Elantra. Well, at the university.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, when I read that, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. They pinpointed his car because it was at the university, because he was a student there. So they pulled up the information on his car. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when they just like stuck to him instead of saying, well, maybe it's not, let's check on some other ones. No, they did not. Yeah. They pinpointed him also because he fit the physical description.
Right.
So that guy, Brian Kohlberger, had the White Elantra, and he fit with the bushy eyebrows, the tall, the everything. Right. And do you know that's what they went off of? Yeah, they went off of that. It's like they just immediately said, that's our guy. That's him. Right, that is definitely him. And, I said to myself, you got to be kidding me. That's pretty sad. That's pretty damn sad. Because they needed somebody. They had to find somebody. They had the school pressuring them. They had the parents pressuring them. They had the whole town of Moscow pressuring them. They had to find somebody quick.
And I agree. I said that earlier on in the stream that I feel like it was we need this guy now because the time had gone by. Christmas was coming up, and it had been a period of time. Everybody was getting antsy. The parents. We all saw how Steve Goncalves was acting. He was very upset, which I don't blame him. They wanted something done. And I agree. There was pressure. And they went for the first person they could go for, in a sense.
Exactly. They tied him to that vehicle and then found his address. Because it says it all in that statement, Howard Bloom. When I read it probably 5 times, and I said to myself, wow,
You're
really?
Talking about the airmail articles, right?
Yes, that's it, Dago. That's it.
I agree. I've read those, yeah.
And and it writes it literally when you read it, it says it right there exactly how they tied him to that car. Yeah. I think that's pretty damn sad. And another thing, let me bring up the knife sheath. If you think about it, okay, let me ask you this. Has it said, because there's so much information on this case, have they said or said anything of who was killed first? Was it who was unalived? Was it Ethan and Xander, or was it Kaylee and Maddie?
The way that it was brought out to everybody, they kind of made it look like that it was third floor, which would have been Maddie and Kaylee, then the second floor, and then out the door they went. That's how it's been brought out in multiple different realms, or not realms, but different, you know what I mean? So
right. Well, the theory that they have of this one person with this knife, there's no way. I believe, okay, we'll put it this way. This is what don't make sense with that touch DNA. Say, for instance, okay, well, how can they look at Brian Kohlberger as going and say unaliving Ethan and Xana. Now he's got a knife, and the cops want us to believe he's got a knife sheath, okay, from the get-go of that knife of that night. So he's going to go and unalive Ethan and Xana.
Right.
Okay. So he would have had to fight with him. You know what? There had to have been a fight. It had to have been very messy.
At the very least, he fought with Ethan, because I can't imagine.
Oh yeah.
Ethan's not going to stand there and go, okay, do what you want to do. And
exactly. So maybe that person had gloves, but you can't tell me there's no blood on that sheath. It's just touch DNA. So what he did, he carried the knife up the stairs with the sheath. I don't believe that. There would have been blood on it, and there's no blood, right?
Right. And this is why I said that,
because it don't make sense, because it did not happen like the cops said it happened. I'll grant you that.
I'm telling you, my mind is telling me I can picture that these kids were hanging out in their kitchen. Okay.
Yes.
Right, at the end of the night, they were all done. I've said this 3 times now, so I'm sorry, guys. They were all hanging out, talking about whatever that was going on that night. And I feel like somebody either called somebody to come over to either get something, or somebody came over to get something. And these people came right in the house.
Yep.
Okay?
And ambushed them.
Everybody does. The doors are never locked. It's been stated multiple times. And they came right in the house, and like you said, it good word, ambushed them. Okay. And that Xana took off to her room, and Ethan was maybe in the bathroom at the point, and they went right after Xana first, in my opinion. And then Ethan came out of the bathroom, realizing what's going on, tried to fight. But this is again, folks, multiple people, multiple weapons. Again.
Yes.
I truly believe this. Okay.
Oh yeah, it had to have been Dago. I did the reenactment at my sister's, like I told you before. She has a staircase.
Yeah.
She has a two and a half story.
Yes.
Okay. I did that. I told her I wanted her to help me with this. She goes, "Oh yeah, girl, I'll do it." Okay. Well, we did it. And this 9 minute, even 11 minutes, there's no way. There's no way. My sister even said that. She said, there is no way one person did this.
Here's the thing. And I'm going to add this to what I was saying. Okay. Because I have a friend, and I know people will say, I don't care who your friend is or whatever. Fine. It doesn't matter. I went to this person months ago. He's a retired military, special forces. He's a martial arts instructor. He's very good with knives and bow staffs and guns and all that crazy stuff. Okay. And I asked him a question. I said, and I showed him the whole scenario. I showed him who the people are that are involved, so on and so forth. And I said to him, I said, listen, this is what happened. This is the guy that did it. And he did it with this. Okay. And he kind of laughed a little. He goes, no, he didn't. He goes, there's no way, first of all, that he did all that with one K-bar knife. He goes, because unless he was, stabbing in specific spots, the K-bar knives, the blades are known to break off of those. Okay. 1, if you hit bone, you can break a blade. 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I'm sure that somebody hit bone some point. So now moving backward a little bit more, I feel that, and I explained to him, I said, he did all this in 9 minutes. And he was like, no, he didn't. He goes, I'm trained to do these types of things. Hand-to-hand combat. They train military officers, or not officers, I'm sorry, military personnel to do this. Okay. This guy was a Marine, mind you, okay? And said, I couldn't do that in 15 minutes, dude, because especially with the obstacles that he probably encountered, Ethan being one. Xana fought back, and I'm pretty sure that Kaylee fought back too.
Yep.
Okay, based on the wounds.
I think all of them did, to be honest with you.
Right. So that's why I think that Xana was attacked first. Ethan come from the bathroom, tried to interact, broke it, okay? And then after that, at the same time, Kaylee and Maddie ran upstairs to try to get away, to lock themselves in their rooms and probably call 911 or somebody else. And they were caught because the people that were there caught them before they could get there.
Yes.
And boom, boom, boom. That was handled. Now, again, going back to what Steve has said about the wounds. I hate to keep bringing this up, guys, but I can't let it go. I showed you guys this knife here, which is close to a K-bar, but not really. It doesn't make sense. Steve said very large gouge puncture marks, puncture wounds. And the first thing that clicked in my mind was those stupid golf clubs that they've had in their custody in evidence the entire time they wouldn't release.
Dago, I agree so much.
Break
Yes.
the end off of one of those, and you got a nice metal circular sharp object that works just like a giant pen, okay, that you puncture things with. And there's how many wounds on the body? I can
Yes.
imagine somebody standing there doing this over top of these bodies, okay?
Exactly.
That's my thought.
And put it this way, I know Ethan, it didn't the coroner, or not the coroner, but the lady or whatever that didn't she say, or maybe it came from a report from the coroner, that there was I don't know how it was worded, there was different wounds on Ethan.
There was different, yeah, rights. Therefore, in turn, one person has a knife, the other person has the broken golf club. There's different variations of the wounds as well.
Yes.
Saying, okay, then. So that's my thought, guys. And I'm not telling you guys that this is fact. I'm not going to be there in the trial to testify because it's not me. It's not fact. This is what my mind is telling me based on what information we've been given. And I truly feel strong about that too, because an edged weapon is what we were told at the very beginning. And then it went from that to the K-bar knife.
Exactly.
A knife is a knife. An edged weapon can be anything, like I just pointed out. You break off the end of a golf club and it's a sharp, prodding weapon, okay?
Yes. And then also too, Dago, let me tell you this, and I'm going to jump off. Okay, far as for that touch DNA, how does people know that, or how do we know that they didn't get that touch DNA? The cops couldn't have put that touch DNA on there from his, he was an assistant, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't, okay. To what, a professor?
You're talking about Brian?
Yeah.
He was a teaching assistant, so yeah.
Okay, so that professor, I'm sure, had an office. And possibly, maybe Brian had a little desk in there, or maybe he had a little small office.
He absolutely did.
And you see, maybe, who knows? Far as for getting it out of the trash over there at the father's house, I can't believe that, because that don't make sense to me. That just don't make sense to me.
Understand something too, that may not have anything to do with this, but it's just a little extra something to keep in your mind. Brian's father, Michael Koberger, visited Brian down there on a regular basis. He was there in October. He was
there. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes. He had been there visiting. He was there on, for parents' night. He was there for this. He was there for that. He was a regular visitor there. Brian's mom, not so much, but the father was there on a regular basis. So remember that, just to have.
Okay. I'm glad you told me that, because that makes more.
It adds to it for sure. You still there? You just cut yourself, or did you mute yourself? I don't know what happened there. Okay. But again, guys, these are just all the other things. Welcome, Papa Rogers. Good to see you. Couldn't he have been working as an auxiliary type of investigator intern for Moscow PD since Pullman apparently declined his applicant? He very well could have been. I made up a scenario not too long ago where, and this is a very, very, very made up scenario, best word for it, in my opinion, that Brian wanted to be in law enforcement in a very bad way, in some form of it, okay? Forensics, whatever you want to call it, and was denied at that point through Pullman, which, I get it. That can be a little bit of a letdown, but then somebody that put the time in, that the decade he spent going to school to learn what he learned, I have a hard time feeling that this guy would give up on this. So with everything that goes on in that home, okay, it's a regular thing. Remember that Kaylee was kind of like the rest of us in here.
Yes, she was. She was a crime sleuthy herself. Yes.
Right. She was actually a member or a part of Olivia's channel, guys. Okay.
And do you know what she did? I don't know if y'all found out about this. Excuse me. Kaylee, if y'all look it up, they had this lady. I don't know if she had Alzheimer's or something.
Oh, yeah.
Do you
Okay.
remember that? She
go ahead.
actually helped the police in finding this woman.
Yes, she did.
You know, so yeah, maybe who knows? Maybe Kaylee knew something about what was going on with the cops or what they had did. Maybe.
Why would it be that hard to believe that Kaylee, the connection there, where this all connects together, is that Kaylee very possibly met Brian at some point and found out Brian's background and had conversations with Brian because that's what they had in common. And they got together and talked about these specific things. And Brian, maybe wanted to help Kaylee to shut down certain things going on around her home, because it's been said that Kaylee was not a fan of all the partying and all the drugs and all that other stuff. Okay. How true that is, I don't know. I'm just saying it's been said. And, maybe he was looking into his own little version of an investigation to expose or to shut something down, to prove to law enforcement that he could be an asset to any of their departments. Okay.
Yes.
And in turn, this other situation goes down, and let's kill two birds with one stone. Let's frame the guy that's trying to expose us.
Exactly. And you know what, Olivia, if I'm not mistaken, I think the job that Kaylee took on in Texas, I think it was in IT. I don't remember. I heard something about that. It was something to do. It was for some big company, but it was. I thought it was. I'd heard something about. It was like with
Eco. God, I know the name of it. I can't say it right now, but yeah, I've heard that too.
So I mean, maybe she was gonna. I don't know, be some type of an investigator thing with certain, maybe phone, maybe who knows, ITs for like they do a lot of work for criminals, criminal investigations,
digital evidencing and stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly, like phone extractions and just all kind of stuff like that they do.
Yeah, that's a good point, Sleuthie. And yes, Molly, I agree. At some point, she was going to fix all the computers. There you go, Pub. Right. And where did that other one go? Sleuthie just said, hopefully they looked into her boss too at the new job. Just saying. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's what I wanted to say, Dago. I'm going to jump off. But yes, I agree with everything you're saying 100%. It just sounds more logical.
Yeah, it does. And nothing else. Like we've said, guys, from the beginning of this, Joel said it. I've said it. Everybody has said it. Nothing that has been put in front of our face fits together as far as.
No, it don't. Nothing. And I know we can't all be stupid, huh?
We've all been doing this. We've all been doing this for too long for it to go, okay, it doesn't make no sense. It doesn't work this way. And that doesn't work. This doesn't work. It's like we have little pieces of completely different crime scenes going together, and we're trying to put it together with this one, and none of them fit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Hey, well, Dago, thank you so much for having me on. I'm going to jump off.
Anytime. I appreciate your insight, and I love listening to your voice. Absolutely. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye. Considering how her LinkedIn disappeared after her death, yeah, they should have interviewed the boss. Good point. Sleuthie and Jules. That's a very good point. I absolutely agree with you, Stevie. Dive is awesome. I love it. Love it. BK was planning to get his PhD and go into research. Here's another thing. Thank you, Hash, for saying that, guys. Let me ask you a question, folks. And let's be realistic here. This man spent 10 years of his life getting this education. He overcame a drug problem at some point. He was a heroin addict, right? He overcame that and decided to turn his life completely around to go to school for 10 years and was getting a PhD, a doctorate, if you may, whatever you want to call it. Really? We're going to do all of that and throw it all away to unalive these kids? That's something I've always had problems grasping. Always. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see. Harlot says, I think one person could have easily done it in 9 minutes. I do not agree. With a gun? Yeah, I agree. And that's what my friend had said too. With a gun, yes. Even with the, obstructions that he had when he went through there, Ethan and Xana and anybody fighting back with him. Sure, with a gun, anybody could do it in close to 9 minutes. You got to understand, put yourself in this kid's place. Or if that's who it was, you know, you got a knife in your hand. You go into this house. You go up against a guy that's 3 times your strength, and you got to fight him. That's going to take in itself to get past him. I'm going to give it at least 5-6 minutes at the time, okay? If you're lucky, because Ethan was pretty strong, very athletic, as to Brian wasn't, okay? So now you got that. Then you got to go deal with the, with Xana. I'm not putting this in order by any means. I'm just saying who fought back. That's going to take time, okay? Then you got to go upstairs or however it was done. But again, still, 9 minutes? Come on. That doesn't make any sense. The friend of mine that I said, he said, dude, that couldn't even have been done in 15 minutes like that. If there was a gun involved, boom, boom, boom. Yes. Okay. But there wasn't. There wasn't at all. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. I'm sorry. I'm not disagreeing with you, Harlot. I respect, and I've always said this, guys. In a way, I am disagreeing with you, I guess, but not in an angrily way. Okay. I absolutely respect each and every one of your guys' opinions and theories on this. I don't have to agree with you, but I'm not judging you based on that. Okay. You guys have your right, as do I, to our opinions and theories. I don't agree with that. That's all I'm saying. It was definitely a personal situation change. That kind of anger and that kind of, whatever it was, it's bad. So I'm just saying. With a car, Mandy Joe, 100%. With a gun, 100%. With a knife or a sharp-edged object, I just can't do it. I can't. You don't understand. Like, people are going to be, your arms are going to be all over the place because people are fighting you. Okay. They're grabbing the knife. Xana grabbed the knife, they said, because her fingers were almost cut off. Okay. Well, that took some time out of that 9-minute period of time to fight that knife back. Okay. Now, unless, that's why I said, I believe that there had to be more than one person and more than one weapon. I truly believe that. And I think the timeline's off bad. So that's just me. Oh, man. Let me check here. Was there anyone else that, what did you say, Stevie? Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. That's why I believe that the think tanks that we do, guys, I think that's why they work out so well. And that, if people can make it happen without getting angry at each other and fighting with each other about, and it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't. I've proved that in my channel. We've kept it positive. We can have disagreements without having arguments. There's no reason for any of that, guys. So it is what it is. But I do appreciate all your guys' theories, opinions, thoughts on it. I do. I really do. Well, like I said, I think killer left when the car was first seen on camera at 3:29, giving them from 2:52 till 3:28 a.m. to attack both floors and leave. That's a lot longer, guys. That makes sense to me. And I agree with you. I really do agree with you, Sleuthy. If it was one person, sure. That makes sense now. Okay. But again, thank you, Miss Lori. I appreciate that. I cannot agree with the 9-minute scenario. I never could. That's always been my biggest problem, guys. Some of my best brainstorming sections have been with intelligent people who disagree with me. 100%. 100%. That's why this stuff works, guys. That is why this works. It's great to have you guys all here. Does anybody else have any questions? Anybody else want to come up and ask any questions or make any statements before I bring this down for the day, guys? I will be back with this tomorrow because we never did get a chance to go over the PCA again because there's things about it that I just don't like. And I have the edited version of it too. So What was that, Kim? At least you don't talk about us on your channel like someone supposedly did buzzed. I don't know. I agree, Steve. I do. Everybody's opinions do matter. Because here's the thing, folks. I could have an opinion about one thing, and Steve can have an opinion about one thing, and then Heather has an opinion about something. And a piece of her opinion or theory makes sense, and a piece of mine makes sense, and a piece of Steve's makes sense. And if you put it together and you separate those other pieces, something that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense could come out of that. And it does happen, guys. It really does. So absolutely, Paige. And that's what this is all about, guys. And I've said this 1,000,001 times, and I'm going to say it 1,000,002. I am here and solely because I feel like us and the true crime community need to be the voice for the voiceless with all of these cases, guys. Not just this one, but any case we've covered. Deborah Collier, Kylie Rodney, Summer Wells. This case, they don't have a voice any longer, okay? They cannot tell us what happened to them. They cannot tell us where they're at. That's why we do what we do, okay? And I truly, I know this sounds, somebody's going to probably make fun of me for this, whatever. I don't care. I feel like I have 7 children, guys. They're all adults but one. And I feel like these kids are my kids at this point because I've been so vested in this, okay? And I want true justice for these kids and for their families because that is what is deserved, guys. And that is why I'm here. And that's why we do what we do, guys. And that's all there's to it. That's a true fact for me, folks. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, brother. I absolutely do. As do you. It wasn't directly at us, Kim. Somebody came in and said T-Rev was talking about certain things, and he was, and I haven't made up any suspects. He was talking about some channels that were making up suspects out of other people, and I have seen that done. I have seen it done. You know, he's right about that. And I don't have any problems with T-Rev at all. I don't. So that's you know, I don't have any problems with any creators. I don't. I love Lana. I think she's got great insight. I think she's very good at what she does. You know, I'm a very, very big fan of Turkey and Daniel. I respect them very much. I think they're very good at what they do. Of course, our buddies over at Publicly Buzzed, they do it a little different, but I love it over there. They're amazing. You know, all of these other channels, guys, that I think everybody has, everybody does it in a different way, and they do it with a different type of passion. And I think in the end, we all have the same end result in mind, and that's to get true justice for these families and these kids, because this is so undeserved, and we all know that, okay? And that's what it should be. That's all it should be. As far as the drama between channels, oh, that's another one. I respect Doc Thrifty too. I've always followed Doc stuff. I love Doc stuff, okay? And I'm sorry that I didn't throw that in there in the beginning, but I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan of Sleuthy. You know, I love what she does. And I've learned from all you guys too. I'm just saying, you know. I'd love to debate with the other guy, Dan. Dan is a good debater. I do believe that and agree with that one. So yeah, I've learned from a lot of these creators. I've grown because of the things I've learned from them, and I owe a lot to what I do to these people. And I have a lot of respect for all of them. So yeah, 100%. And I thank you again, Sleuthy, for being here. Steve from Publicly Buzzed, I appreciate it. And guys, for any of you guys that are not subscribed to any of these other channels, please check it out. Publicly Buzzed is a great channel. There's a lot of fun involved with it. And at the same time, they do take things seriously, guys, and they put it out there. You guys all know how great Sleuthy is. So if you're not checking her out already, please do. Again, it's all, in the end, guys, it's all about the victims and their families. And that's all it is. And getting the truth out there. the truth. And as we've seen, as we're looking at these things that we looked at today, the PCA and all these other things, guys, the truth doesn't always very easily get put out. Here we are, and that's why we do what we do. Again, guys, I want to thank you guys all so very much for being here today. I believe, let me see here, guys. We got over 200 likes. I thank you so much for that, guys. You put us out into the algorithm again, and I love it. I love you guys for that. I love having all you guys in here. It makes it so fun to me. I love listening to every one of your guys' theories, opinions, and thoughts. And I'm sorry that I can't get to everybody's. I try. I really do try, guys. I promise you. My moderators, they try to keep me into it too, but it's hard. But I respect each and every one of your guys' thoughts. And I appreciate you guys so very much. Moderators, you guys are amazing. Other creators that are in here, thank you guys for checking me out. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your guys' input as well. There we go. Thank you, Heather. There's Sleuthie's link, guys. If you haven't checked it out, please do. You guys will never get any better. And nobody's ever going to be disappointed going to these other channels. I can promise you guys that. These people are great. Absolutely great. Where is it? And there is Publicly Buzz's link. Thank you, Heather. All right, folks, I need to jump out of here. I will be back here tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to tell the true story behind the movie Helter Skelter. Mr. Charles Manson, folks. If you're into that stuff, join me, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Other than that, have a great one, folks. See you on the other side. Bye-bye.